Bam. Man, so we are back this Saturday on the road to WrestleMania on the Undisputed GOAT podcast, man. We're live, man, live all the way from Columbus, Georgia to Madison, Georgia to the cold frozen tundra of Wisconsin. How y'all doing today, man?
Doing good. Rocking the Care Bear hoodie tonight and just kind of chilling out, and glad that the weather's starting to possibly turn here in the frozen tundra. So it's going good. Can't complain.
What about you, BRF?
Man, same here. Another good week. It was nice to get some good weather, even though we had a little bit of a rain pop up. But I mean, outside of that, it's been good. I ain't got no complaints my way. Now I'm just enjoying this weekend, and shoot, man, I'm ready to get into some action, man. I'm ready for the night, man. I'm hyped, man. It's been good. I can't complain.
Yeah, man, of course, man. Look, it's springtime. It is springtime. Or in the case of Flash, old man Winter loves to hold on up in the state of Wisconsin.
Yes, he does.
It being spring, let's go ahead and move sundress season up to the spring so we won't get robbed of it like we was last year. So bring out the dresses and the tube tops and all of that. We want to see all of that, and the capris or whatever you want to do. We want to see all that this year. We was robbed of that last year because of how hot it was down south. It was it averaged like 101 all summer long. So we was robbed of that season. So hook us up this year. Let's get back to it.
I'm talking. Unfortunate times last year, but hopefully this year bring out a few more smiling faces.
Yes, of course it will, man. Hey, but look, breaking news. We was just getting into it. Me and Flash and DRF was talking about it in the group chat earlier, and this is a subject that we've all been talking about. Quite frankly, all of us have been talking about how NIL, although all of us are advocates for the young men getting paid, and young women, I would say, because you got to think about, the basketball players, the volleyball players, the track. Although we are not opposed to them getting paid, that NIL is out of control. And today we saw a prime example of that in Tennessee with Nico, and I cannot pronounce his last name, and I'm not going to make an idiot out of myself trying to. So we saw that situation occur the way it did. So I have to ask y'all at this point in time, man, has NIL number one gotten out of control? And is this young man being released and they tell you, oh, hell no, we're not going to pay you $4 million. You can go somewhere else and see if they'll pay you, but you're not going to get it from Tennessee. And not only that, Mario Cristobal, shout to the great PSP, he just sent me something stating that Mario Cristobal stated that they're not going to be dealing with holdouts either. Either you come to practice or you don't get paid, or you can go somewhere else. Number one has NIL gotten out of control so bad to where these players really think they're pros as far as holdouts are concerned, or is these institutions stating that, okay, you want to hold out, you can take your ass home? Is this their way of taking back the power and giving back the power to the institutions? Whoever wants to go first.
Flash, you can go first.
Well, I mean, I've always had a mixed feeling about paying college players. Like I'm for it because how the NCAA has been so corrupt. I mean, over the last forever years. But again, I think, and I've spoken about it before on the show, that I think the NIL, the idea was okay, but the execution has been terrible. And I think we are out of control now. I mean, this kid, Nico Imalima, I don't know. I'm not, I'll make an ass of myself. That's okay. He was a top five. I mean, he was a 5-star recruiter, but he's been at Tennessee for I think 2 seasons now, and he's been middle of the pack SEC quarterback. And to just be like, nah, I want $4 million on the level of what Carson Beck got from going from Georgia to Miami. Like, I just think, we have these kids now who are in college, and now, whether he's middle of the pack or not, now you're ruining your draft stock. Because if I'm a GM for any team, especially like late rounds where I'd pick somebody like a Nico, if you're already a headache in college and you're basically an average quarterback, like, I'm not bringing you into the NFL or on my team. Like, I think the trade-off with paying players might not be good, but at the same time, I argued a week or two ago that this might be good because we might see college basketball players stay for 2 to 4 years. So it's weird. I'm not really sure how I feel about this. I don't like how this is turning into basically a pro sports league where, and I appreciate Tennessee just going like, hey, dude, go pound Sam. Like you're not even that, and Tennessee as an institution is going to survive that. But I don't know. I have so many mixed feelings about this. I really don't know how to feel. If the NIL has been a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. I don't know. How do you feel about a BRF?
The more I look at it, the more, because I've always been a proponent of the athletes need to get paid, just from the standpoint of these coaches can come to these schools, stay 2 years, and just recruit a class and then just leave at the drop of a hat. Yeah. Promising these kids, oh yeah, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna see it through, and then they leave when a better situation shows itself, and then these kids are like, man, I came here for nothing. And this was before they're able to really because it was like if you transfer, you lost a year. So it's like I was for it from that standpoint, because it's one of those like, man, if these coaches could come out here and make all these promises and leave at the drop of a hat for more money, then I feel like, and the point of making money off of these players' backs, then why not? And exactly, and everyone's profiting, but the players. So let's give the players some of this money. Everybody's profiting off of them. How come they can't get any of it? Like you hear all these, back in the day when it was like, you took $5. You took $5 and you lose credibility. You lose reputation. You can't play no more. It's like,
if you were caught, yes. If you were caught,
if you were caught, if they caught you.
I think the happy medium should have been maybe not pay the players, but the players were able to make money on their own money off of their name.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Autographs, endorsements, sponsors and stuff like that. Like maybe that should have been the happy medium instead of, because now again, you got schools that are just like, that we'll pay you we'll pay you millions of dollars. And now we're getting to the point where it's like, again, this just seems, I brought this up. The ignorance part, the ignorance was bliss, or at least for me to pretend that I had ignorance to what was going on behind the scenes in college football. You know what I'm saying? Like you've lifted the veil. You've lifted the veil on the kayfabe, and now I'm not liking this. And maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, because it's like, it's like you wanna look at the players and you wanna be like, man, hey, you are still getting an opportunity, man. Don't just be on, saying this is basically like NFL free agency on the college level. It's like, don't be all like, want this kind of contract and all this other stuff. And, you kind of showing yourself a little bit, but at the same time, like you said, it's showing like what these colleges are willing to do to get these 4 or 5-star high level recruits to come to their universities, to come to their colleges, be like, yeah, we'll give you this if you come play. And it's like, it's really not the best look either way. And it's Nico Iamaleava is how you pronounce his name. It's Iama Lieva is how you pronounce his name.
I was
But
close.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
that's a W.
that's how you pronounce it. But I mean, he's a like you said, he's a. I mean, he was pretty much like a middle of the pack SEC quarterback. But you kind of have to take into account the potential that was there, and particularly like really that first half against the University of Georgia when they went to Athens, and he just showed like all types of poise and really kind of kept them in that game for a lot of it before before the light bulb went off and Georgia started to click, and they ended up winning that game. So the potential is there for him to be a really good quarterback. Because I mean, going into next year, we talked about that. We had this on one of our segments like a week or so ago, talking about the draft. We were talking about the New York Giants, and we were talking about like should they tank next season, not draft a quarterback, and maybe look at next season because like you got the Carson Backs of the world coming out next year. You got Nico Iamaleava coming out next year. He's going to be in that draft class. I mean, you're going to have possibly more good quarterbacks coming out if you didn't necessarily want to draft a quarterback, seeing how they already had 3 quarterbacks in the room now. So we had kind of already talked about him. I don't know. Yeah, like I wish they could kind of like he said, like Flash said, a happy medium, like kind of meet in the middle. Like I wasn't expecting like full blown I wasn't expecting like full blown 4, 5, $6 million deals to get these guys come in and play. I was kind of expecting like, yeah, you give them a little something to come to the school, but at the same time, a chunk of their money would come in like before you couldn't dare sign an autograph and get paid on. You can sign an autograph, get paid for it, and you get caught to get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Autographs, yeah, like the autographs, the endorsement commercials. Just something here and there, almost like stipends, kind of in a way. Just kind of something to keep money in their pocket. That way they can function on those universities, on those campuses on a day-to-day basis, to where they can go out and get food. They can go out and get clothes. If they want to save up money, get a car. Hey, great. Now, man, please. These NIL deals, these boys out here buying Range Rovers, Lamborghinis. I'm talking about cars they don't need. They just going out, just yanking them out the dealership.
Yeah, like I kind of think that. I kind of think that like better moves would have been like, hey, we'll put like this in some kind of savings account or something like that, or this. I mean, or I don't know. This just seems odd. I mean, don't get me wrong. This might be to the point because I mentioned it a couple weeks ago when we talked about this, about how like these players are going to have to sign contracts. Like there's going to be like, I commit 2 years to Tennessee and you're going to pay me so-and-so dollars. And this is the problem with the transfer portal. Like you can just you can just be like that. I'm going to the transfer portal. And it's just weird. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, and to throw something else in, like, and an NIL is not just football. Like today, it just got reported Malaysia Fulwiley, the point guard from South Carolina, is entering the transfer portal. She is one of the best players in college basketball, and she's entering the transfer portal. So it's just like it's not going to be football. Like it's going to be it's going to get even wilder and even crazier because you're going to have these big named players that are going to be like either first round draft picks or potential top 10 draft picks in their sport. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to go someplace else. And it's like, like NFL GMs, NBA GMs, WNBA GMs are going to be looking at that stuff and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, you're slightly a head case now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're slightly a head case now, and you coming into the league in a year or two, and we got to worry about having to give you a contract, and you already trying to hold teams, universities, you trying to put them on the spot like this, man. It's kind of like like some of these colleges, some of these GMs like in the pros are gonna have like already gonna get second thoughts of it because they're not gonna know what to think of you. So a lot of these players are gonna kind of hurt their draft stock because it's like it's not showing like not showing like a real commitment and not the way you want to be. But at the same time, though, I look at it like it's all like it's not necessarily a full circle thing, but it's almost like I'm kind of not surprised, like the evolution of this, because it kind of started with the coaches jumping ship and taking these big money deals when they promise one school they're gonna stay and then they leave and take these big money deals, and now the players are kind of doing the same thing. It's like an evolving, like an evolution, and in a way, I'm not really surprised because these players are gonna want to try to maximize their earning potential, and I completely understand. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand it from their perspective,
I do
but at the
too.
same time, you can't. Yeah, I understand it from there. Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, you want to look at it and just you wish you could be there with some of these players, and you just want to be like, I feel you. Don't get me wrong. I want you to get your money, but
Yeah.
also, but just think about you still got a future. I
Well,
mean, what you getting right now is chump change compared to what you're going to be getting in the pros, especially if you're a high draft pick and you live up to the potential you're going to go into the pros with. This is just chump change. So you
well,
kind of got to just kind of slow down a little bit.
the other thing. Go ahead, champ.
My thing is this. Sometimes I want to just look at one of these guys and say, you spoiled little brat, how much damn money do you need? Shit.
Well, that's
And
the
I
other.
hate to say it that way, but damn, you're driving. Number one, the NIL money is just the money that you're getting that we know about.
We know
Yeah.
about.
That's
Yeah.
just it's kind of like some of the stuff going on behind this, because you can best believe this upfront money. This just the money for the public to see.
Oh yeah.
That ain't including you getting comped at the club that you go into, that you love going to, that at the student lounge, or at the VIP that you get comped at, and one of the alumnus own the nightclub. That ain't including that free education that you're probably getting, that you're getting at this point. That's not including that education. That ain't including the car that somebody just rolled into your driveway. That ain't including something that somebody may have gave you on one of the alumnus or one of the boosters may have gave you on the side just for you having a good game. That
The house you get in your family on the side too. Don't include that either.
That's just this upfront money, this $2 million ballpark. That's just the shit that we know about.
Well,
That's not even including everything else outside of what that deal is. Because you can rest assured, some of these cats are getting some more money on the side somewhere. Some of these alumni saying, hey, why don't you go ahead and drive that car for the weekend? Go ahead, hit a penthouse for the weekend. Stuff like that. You can best believe that is still happening.
Well, and the other thing too, absolutely it is. Or the sponsorships that they're getting, or the local commercial that they're doing for the local restaurant or car dealership. Like the other part too. Do you guys remember when Zion was still at Duke, and that one play happened where his shoe exploded because he made a cut on it, and there was a big argument about because he decided to play anyways. And everybody's like, that's just stupid and blah, blah, blah. He's risking his career and yada, yada, yada. And I'm sitting there now. I was one of the few people that I was like, did anybody that's arguing against him play sports at all? Like a team sport where you're committed to your teammates, the camaraderie, your coaches, and everything else. There's still that what happened to that? And that's as the pure sports fan in me, what happened to that? Where is that? Because talking about, then again, this started with not playing in bowl games and all that kind of stuff. You're abandoning your teammates.
Well, not only that, I'm just going to be real. When you bring money into a kid situation, it's going to get corrupted. I don't care what you do. I mean, when you bring money into a kid situation and put it around kids, and some of these kids, I'm going to just be real. These are not just inner city children that we're talking about. These are not just kids from the neighborhood that I grew up in, some of the other guys grew up in. These are not just those neighborhoods. No. These are the kids that's dominated by social media era. So when they see a Lamborghini, they automatically say, hell, let me pull that up to class at Darden Hall on Monday right before practice. Oh, man, look, I'm finna go. Now, one guy, I'm just going to be real. He had probably the best deal ever. he had a deal with a plane company for like $2 million, and he can fly anywhere on that private plane.
Yeah.
I was like, damn. I'm like, do you know the damage that I would be doing if I had that deal back?
Dude, I can't imagine if I would have been any.
Do you know the damage that I would have been doing,
dude,
with a deal like that back in my prime? Do you know?
I'd have been straight up Tyreek Hill. I'd have had 30 kids by now. Like, it would have been.
all types of fuckery would have been going on.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like this money, like, what happened to, like, why don't we put the money away, invest it for these kids? Because some of these kids aren't going to play pro sports. But if you make $2 million a year for 3 to 4 years at Georgia or Tennessee, I broke BRF. I'm sorry.
The Tyreek Hill line killed me, bro. It killed me.
Here's what happens quick by breaking this early in the show.
This kid had a $2.5 million deal with an airplane company in order to fly on anything to charter planes. Man, do you know how many Instagram models would have been on that damn plane with me?
God.
Back when I was 22 years old. What the hell?
Yeah.
Oh, God, champ. Oh, God.
If you played like 4 years at a SEC school and you're getting paid $2 million a year, if all that gets invested for you while you're in school, you're set for life.
But like, the thing is, with great power comes great responsibility, Flash.
I agree.
The thing is, look, you're going to ask me for money, I'm going to give it to you. Now, the thing is, I don't want to hear squat down the line about you being broke. It's kind of like, I know this is a bad example, but y'all can relate to it because we grew up during a different time. It's kind of like your parents used to break down your allowance, and you may have gotten $100 for the month, but they only gave you like $25 a week because they know if they gave you all of that money up front,
it all in one sitting.
You'd have blew it all on the first weekend. And mom told me, look, I'm going to break it down. Your allowance is $100 a month, but I'm going to break it down to you every single week for $25. Now, all of us have been here. There was a time where you got desperate, whether you want to go and get an ice cream or go and get that remote control car or go and get that game or whatever. We all got desperate to the point where we went to our mom and dad and told them, hey, could you give me my money up front? And what did they tell you? I'm going to give you this money. And it all fell on the first weekend of the month. The first of the month. You never asked for that on the second weekend. On the first weekend of the month, you may have asked for it. And they're going to tell you, hey, once I give you this money, I don't want to hear from you again. You went and bought that game. You went and bought or whatever. And then come a week later, everybody wants to go to the movies. You ain't got no money. Oh, crap. But that's the thing. And you got to understand, like I said, when we was in school, look, when we were in school, we were not into the trappings of success like these young guys or young women are these days. We were not into the trappings of success. There was not a lot to show me that I needed a Lamborghini back in my day. I didn't think I needed a Lamborghini. I just wanted something to get around. I mean, I really wasn't thinking about that. The main thing that I was thinking about when I was thinking about Lamborghini is how much the maintenance is going to be because I don't want to end up broke trying to keep that car up. But if you would have gave guys like us that back in the day before social media, then we would have been saying, I might need a game in my room. I want my dorm to be kind of decked out, want neon lights on there. We were still kids back in those days. We were still kids transitioning into adults. Nowadays, with the advent of social media, these guys want to floss. They want to be able to pull up to that Lamborghini on the campus. So that's why you seeing guys ask for these big deals. And you can best believe they're paying off some guys and paying, parents' mortgages and stuff like that back home. And like I said, even with that millions up front, that's just the stuff that we know about. That's not including what, Biff from the country club that is a longtime Alabama fan is slipping up under your door at night, when he knows you in there playing Fortnite. That's not including that. So how much money do you really need at this point? You need $4 million to live in college? What college did you go to? Because I need to go there and re-educate myself. You must be going to that college where Will Smith and his son went to in that movie where he was trying to be a space cadet, because that's probably the only reason why you need $4 million to be on campus. And I think with these holdouts and these coaches saying if you hold out, then guess what? You can go somewhere else. I think that's a good thing of them putting the power back in the schools and the coaches' hands. Okay, you want to hold out, go somewhere else. Now you may get that money, but from somewhere else, but what kind of precedent is that going to set? What kind of precedent does that set? Because yes, Nico is probably going to get some money, and it's probably going to be from USC because Lincoln Riley is so desperate right about now because he can't win in this loaded conference in the Big Ten that he's just about willing to do anything. Notre Dame probably as well. But you have to ask yourself, what precedent is that going to set? Because are you going to hold out after your first year in the NFL? That's going to cause some problems. That's going to cause you a lot of problems.
Yes, it is.
Go to Jerry Jones after your first year of your rookie contract and say, I'm going to hold out next year. Watch what happens. So I think it's a great thing that these coaches and these institutions are saying that, hey, you want to hold out? That's fine. You can go somewhere else. And I think that's a good way of showing them, hey, you might be a big-time player. You might be a five-star. You might be a great quarterback, great running back, great linebacker. But as coach, I think it's Coach Haple. How do you say his name, BRL?
Josh, talking about with Tennessee?
Yeah.
Josh Heupel.
Coach Heupel, I think he said it perfectly. Nobody is bigger than the program. And the thing is, you can learn a lot from that because Tom Brady said the same thing. It's about the name on the front, not the name in the back.
Yep.
But the thing is, you got to ask yourself, man, $2 million, man, look, $2 million. My mama's already retired. You've already accomplished half that dream already. And that ain't even like I said, and that's just the stuff that we know about. You can best believe they're getting slips of money here and there somewhere. You know.
Of course they are.
Yeah. That's just the stuff that we know about. It's, it's kind of like I said, I go back to that Paris and the allowance situation. That allowance is just what people know about. They don't know about all the toys and the gadgets and the Nintendo 64s and the PlayStations and the Jordan sneakers and stuff like that. They don't know nothing about that. That's just what everybody talk about. Your mama give you $100 allowance every month? Yeah. Back in them days, it was a lot of money. But the thing is, that's just what people knew about. It's not necessarily what is the tone, So that's just my humble opinion. How much money do you really need to be a college student on the campus unless you're going into the Space Force or something like that? That's just kind of ridiculous. And I'm glad that they set the tone by telling these young men, hey, you want to hold out, go somewhere else, man. I don't blame them. I told them too. $2 million a year and you asking for $4 million? You asking for $4 million. That's an NFL rookie contract. I can understand the women's basketball players asking for it. They're not going to see that for a long time.
Mm-mm.
But you are asking for that type of money in Tennessee, they're going to tell you to go plow sand. Anything y'all want to add on that?
No. That's
it. I'll say now I will say this though. I think where it could kind of be like a double-edged sword too, where I do think it's a good thing that a university like Tennessee kind of stood up and like, okay, you want this money so bad, you ain't finna play with us. You better find and get it somewhere else. You ain't gonna be here no more. Now that's just from a scholastic standpoint, financial standpoint. That's the university taking control back. It could be a double-edged sword because if you look at it just on the field side, the play side, the athletic side, if I'm Tennessee, you hope he doesn't go to another prominent SEC school to where he could potentially see you and play you. That may be the only kind of bad thing that could result from it is if he was to go to another school and you ultimately saw him just from a playing perspective and he kind of you have aspirations for a national championship, and he kind of swats those to the wayside. That could be a bad thing from just a playing side. But as far as like from the financial side, it's definitely a good thing, because I mean, you'll take that risk of a player beating you in a big time game like that. But if that means controlling your program to make these players understand, hey, we will come for you, we will recruit you, we will give you all the necessary resources you need. But we're not. But this school, we're not built. This school is not about you. This school is about everybody. It's not just you. So I think these schools would be willing to take a risk like that if it means that players understand that you play for the logo on the helmet, not for the name on your back.
Hey, even if you have a minor setback as far as someone beating you, that happens in the NFL every day. That doesn't mean you have to put up with the behavior. And hey,
Yeah,
we've seen
exactly.
we've seen a lot of other teams. We've seen teams, mainly Pittsburgh, and I give them a lot of credit, saying, "Hey, you might be one hell of a wide receiver, but you can go plow sand before I deal with your attitude and deal with your antics." And
Exactly.
we saw this with Hall of Fame caliber guys, not just Pro Bowlers.
More
And
often than not, it always worked out.
yeah, and more often than not, it always work out. Guys are going to always want to go to Tennessee,
Yes,
especially
exactly.
nowadays.
Yep, it's
I
Tennessee.
mean,
At the end of
it's
the day, it's
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
I mean, guys are going to always want to go to a SEC powerhouse school because I know I'm going to be on ESPN every day, especially if we're winning. So, hey, that's something that you can howl at the moon about. But got a quick question for you, man. Look, let's shift it into basketball, man. What are y'all's thoughts on Luka's return to Dallas, man?
Honestly, if I'm Nico Harrison, I'm already sick. I'm already sick seeing what the Lakers are doing. Just not really losing the beat. They clinched. I believe they clinched the 3 seed in the Western Conference with the win. If I'm Nico Harrison, I'm looking at this and I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna get fired. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna get fired. I'm gonna get fired. Yeah, cause like I look at it like this. I mean, trying to throw this man's name in the mud, trying to make him look all bad, talking about his effort, his commitment, and all this other stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, man, didn't that dude just take y'all to the finals last year? Did
Mm-hmm.
did that dude just took y'all to the NBA finals last year? And now all of a sudden you want to talk about his commitment and all this other stuff. Y'all was still contending for a playoff spot. Y'all were in the running to get into the playoffs. And then it's like, I mean, y'all are still a decent team. And I remember when they made the trade, I said from a defensive standpoint, yeah. I mean, I get it. Luka's not the greatest defensive player. I mean, yeah, you're going to take Anthony Davis on defense 10 times out of 10, but Anthony Davis gets hurt the first game. Luka's staying healthy. Him and Braun are becoming just this ridiculous dynamic duo. And now the LA Lakers are the 3 seed, and you're just sitting there. You lose Kyrie to a torn ACL. AD just got back, but that team now, as constructed, is not good enough to do anything, because you're looking at that trade. You're banking off the idea of Kyrie and Anthony Davis becoming a big time duo, which I think they would have been, and keeping you afloat and ultimately getting to the playoffs and giving you a shot. Now you look at the LA Lakers as currently constructed, and you're like, yeah, they got a shot to win a championship this year. And just, I mean, and it's the fact that he comes back. Didn't he drop 31 in the first half?
21 in the first, in the first like 9 minutes or something crazy.
21, yeah, it was like 21 in the first 9, 31 in the first half. Ended up with 45. Ended up with a 45.86 stat line. I mean, like, dude barely broke a sweat. I mean, that's Luka Doncic in a nutshell. That is Luka Doncic in a nutshell. This man can drop these insane stat lines and make it look effortless. Like when Nikola Jokic dropped the 60, 10, and 10 triple double. We said him, James Harris, and Luka Doncic are the only three to drop a 60, 10, 10. We didn't even mention the fact that in his 60, 10, Luka was 61 and 27 rebounds.
Mm.
Luka dropped. I mean, bro, 61 and 27 rebounds, bro. And that's the part that nobody even talks about, and that they didn't bring up. It's like Luka is just, I don't care. I don't care what comes up, unless he threatens to do bodily harm to you. You do unless he threatens bodily harm to you, or he got something on you that you don't want to come out to the public. You don't trade a generational talent like that, because ultimately, when you look at it, what all did the Lakers give up for Luka besides Anthony Davis? Besides Anthony Davis, who's still a really good player, the Lakers pretty much got Luka Doncic for 2 ham sandwiches, a bag of chips, and a drink. They pretty much a Subway meal.
You talking
They
about that
pretty
boy?
much
You
outside of
talking
AD.
about
They
that boy?
trade.
You
Yeah,
talking
they
about
traded him for
that boy club meal? That meal they used to give us at the boy club here. Doing
boy. This is bordering on. This is like the worst return on a trade possibly of all time outside of Anthony Davis, because the one I'm gonna harp back to was the Houston Texans trading DeAndre Hopkins to the Arizona Cardinals. A hug and a prayer was pretty much what they traded him for. I mean, they traded they traded him for a hug and a prayer. That's pretty much what they traded for. Houston got the corpse of David Johnson, and like that was it. Like
Yeah.
if I'm these GMs, I'm looking at some of these trades that being made. You got to have some sense as a GM. You got to have some sense. Look, whether you like him or not, don't make no personal thing a reason why you trade somebody, and then just make.
You have to like you have to at least leak or make up a reason you pay or you trade away a generational talent for next to nothing. And again, I said this when this story broke. Remember on it, like, and PSP just made the thing in the made the comment in the comment section that Nico's the scapegoat, but I still believe this was all the owners, the new owners. I'm sorry, because here's the thing: the Nico trade, the only way that you keep it under wraps is if you, and that's the other thing too, is he only dealt with one team, which was the Lakers. So because you can't, because if it leaks that Dallas is going to trade Luka Doncic, they would have pitchforks and torches. Look at how they reacted when the trade all the fans would have, they're already turning on the whole franchise. And I think it's on purpose. I'm telling you, I think those owners want to move the team to Vegas. I'm telling you. I think the NBA wants a team there too.
Honestly, I'm gonna just be real. I believe that as well. And I'm going to get to that question. We're going to get to that question in a minute, PSP. Thank you for the little pipe bomb there. Shout out to PSP, by the way. I have to say this. Look, there is no way that you can make me believe that the owner did not have anything to do with this.
It's all the owner.
You just cannot. Because the thing is, like I said on Sports PSP's show yesterday, shout out to Sports PSP at 100K, by the way. If the owner wanted Luka not to be traded, they would have stepped in. And I give you a prime example. Look at what happened in 1998 with the Bulls. And Jerry Krause was saying, 97, the fifth title. This is before the sixth. This is the fifth title. He said 97 was going to be Phil Jackson's last season. He kept saying that. Jerry Reinsdorf stepped in and said, oh, hell no, he's coming back, and paid him the $8 million that was required to bring him back.
Yep.
And even after that season, Jerry Reinsdorf said, look, he took Phil Jackson and called him on the phone and said, hey, we'll welcome you back this year, and we'll pay you another 1-year deal. He offered him another 1-year deal after the sixth championship to go for number 7.
Yeah.
So, and he offered everybody 1-year deals. So, if you are an owner and you don't want something to happen, you're going to step in and make sure that it doesn't happen.
Yeah, look what happened. Hey, look what happened with Brady and Belichick and Garoppolo.
Yes, that's another great example.
Belichick was going to trade Brady, and Kraft went like absolutely fucking not. Sorry, I dropped an F-bomb.
No, don't worry about it. We are social.
I'm sorry, but this is all the owner.
Yeah.
There's no, you don't trade. You just don't do it. And again, even if you do, okay, let's say you have your reservations about the way he takes care of himself. Fine. And you don't feel comfortable giving him the whatever hot 270 million, whatever the 350 million or whatever the max deal is. Fine. I mean, I can somewhat understand that, but then you open the market up.
You get the house for him.
Yeah.
I know. No, you don't get the house for him. You get the house.
Yes, you do. You do.
The kids.
For Luka Doncic, yes, you do.
No.
Cham's saying you get more than that.
You get the house, the cars, the kids, the dog, the Maybach, the Benz, the Astro van. You get
offer him ownership.
And the dude's wife and his girlfriend and his
you get everything. You get everything.
You sell your soul to the devil himself for Luka Doncic.
To answer PSP's question, which trade is worse? I think on a fan level, on a pure fan level, the Luka trade is the worst trade in sports history. On a pure fan level, on a level of where you literally destroyed your franchise. The Browns trading for Deshaun Watson isn't a franchise killer. It's just really stupid. Like, it was just really dumb. Like
I gotta say the Deshaun Watson trade, because you got to think about the ramifications of it. The thing is, you destroyed your franchise while simultaneously building up to more.
Yeah, it's the full ramifications of the Deshaun Watson trade. I agree. It's the full ramifications. It's not just the fact that Cleveland screwed the pooch. Tampa is one of the preeminent best teams in the NFC. Houston got their guy in C.J. Stroud. I think one of the draft picks turned into like a. I definitely know one of them turned into Will Anderson, and then they also end up getting a C.J. Stroud in that as well. So you built two franchises while killing yours.
We haven't seen the complete fallout of this yet. Not yet.
What more do we need to see?
I'll say this though.
If Luka goes and wins the title with LeBron, now look, I'm still going to think it's stupid, but now you just sent your generational player to like one of the most hated and beloved franchises in the NBA, and he's going to go win a title when he was that close to winning you a title. And now on top of it, LeBron gets another ring, which every LeBron is like, well, now let's open the discussion with Jordan again. Like, now we're like, and on top of it, this may cause a whole franchise to leave a city.
Sort of like when they paid all that money for Bad Moon Rising, and Cleveland had to end up leaving.
I mean that's part of it, but I mean, that wasn't the reason Art Modell.
That wasn't the reason, but
no,
this
trade might be the reason. And again, I think that is the reason. I think that's the reason why he's gone. I think there's no other reason.
I believe they're going to go to Las Vegas. And the thing is this, I believe that Las Vegas Aces effect had an effect on the NBA. I believe so.
I'll throw something else into, like, when you're comparing these deals. Yeah, because like we definitely thought the Deshaun Watson move wasn't going to be overtaken or even have something else come into the discussion for a while, and then the Luka Doncic trade happens, and you're just like, well, we spoke. Well, I guess Dallas said, "Hold my beer" on that one. But this is what I'll say this though: if okay, we know Deshaun Watson is pretty much he's saying all the right things in the media now, but I still feel like I feel like he's all but cooked as a preeminent dominant quarterback in the league or a good starting quarterback in the league.
Oh
If
yeah.
if Cleveland if Cleveland wants to save face, they have they got it. Whoever they get as the next quarterback, they got to hit a home run. Whether it's Cam, whether it's Shador, if they draft the quarterback, they got to hit it out the park. Because I'm telling you right now, the next quarterback they bring in, if you have that contract on top of the idea of bringing another quarterback in and he struggles too, just sell the team. just sell the team at that point. Sell the team. Sell the team. But I agree with Flash. I agree with Flash from a fan perspective. From a fan perspective, it definitely is the Luka trade because of it. From a fan perspective, it is a Luka trade because especially if what y'all saying happens and they end up taking that franchise and moving it to Vegas. From a fan perspective, it's definitely the Luka trade. I
I mean,
think from an on the court perspective, I think it hinges on two things. If Luka goes to LA and wins the championship, but also what Anthony Davis does after this as well. Because if he's not the same player, if he's not the same player after this trade, I think you definitely bump this up being worse than the Deshaun Watson trade from an on court, on field perspective. If Luka wins the title and Anthony Davis is not the same player he was, like, his best times in LA, I definitely think you could put Luka. I think you could put the Luka trade being worse than the Deshaun Watson trade
and
for all the factors.
I mean, let's be honest too. Like, I mean, the Browns fans have been getting in the butt their whole since ever. Like, even before I was born. So, like, they're used to that this franchise making stupid moves or just selling the franchise and moving it in general. So, but I mean, to watch Luka in tears.
He didn't want to leave.
And then to watch Mark Cuban. Did you see? You guys see the video of Cuban in the crowd?
Well, yeah, he forgot. Like I said, he forgot to take his medication that morning because good God, he forgot to take that. He forgot to take his relaxation. You know that melatonin medication. You know that really kind of puts you to see. He forgot to take his melatonin that morning. Dude, good God, he was having a conniption over there on the side round.
I can't imagine. Look, I as a Mark Cuban fan, I've always loved Cuban. I've never been like a Mavericks fan, but I've always loved Cuban because I always felt that's me if I'm an owner. And
yeah, I can that, by the way.
Yeah, especially when he first bought the franchise and everything, like that's me. Like to sit here or to sit there and him go, I sold my baby, and this is what it's turned into. Somebody basically murdered my child, or his what? Honestly, because that's really Cuban's legacy.
The Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, because he's a billionaire on the side and made a ton of money. Obviously, when he bought the Mavericks, that's how he made his son. And now he's thrown his hat in the political realm, and now he's into the medical field with prescriptions and stuff like that. But his legacy will always be the Dallas Mavericks. That's what he's known for, and he sold his legacy, and somebody destroyed it. Because if this franchise moves to Vegas, I don't think he has any ability to say no. He only owns, I think, still 27%, and he's not involved in the basketball operations at all. He's not allowed to, because that's the thing. If he would have been, there's no way he would have let this slide either.
Oh
Not
no,
only that,
no thanks.
not only that.
To watch a man sit there and to watch a man that was through the whole thing with Dirk, and Dirk finally winning the title, and is one of the, like, we were talking about loyalty before to your teammates in a franchise. To have and then to get somebody like Luka, which, remember, when Cuban made that trade to get Luka, there was a lot of pushback on that too.
Mm-hmm.
And to basically put your franchise back into the point of now you're going to be, you drafted another generational talent, a Hall of Fame talent. And man, now your legacy is just destroyed. Yeah. I don't know. As a man, I don't know how I would have felt. I would have been in tears myself.
Look, I know y'all seen him before on the Sports PSP podcast, the host and the owner of the Sports PSP podcast. Here is the great Sports PSP himself, man. How I feel to have 100K followers, brother?
As Don King once said, only in America. But I'm doing great, man. Just happy, very blessed. Right now, the only reason why I'm not on cam is because I'm busy working. I'm actually editing some more of the Luka stuff from last night's episode. But Luka went off, and you kind of knew from the standpoint when you saw him in tears when the Mavs showed the tribute video, he was gonna go off. But I think Nico Harrison has gotten so much flack and criticism that we have to look at the ownership of the Dallas Mavericks. And why is it that you would trade Luka? For what? To build a casino? To move the team to Vegas? I mean, look, even though Luka has had weight issues, conditioning problems, that's still on him because, after all, you are a professional athlete. That being said, I'm not trading Luka. And you hurt not only basketball, but you also hurt the city of Dallas.
Yeah.
Because you're competing. I mean, you got you got the Dallas Cowboys, America's team. You got the Texas Rangers, and of course, we can't ignore college football with SMU, the Texas Longhorns. So, because of this move, what does it do to your organization? And I question with the owner: does she know? Does the owner know basketball?
No, God, no. Did you see her?
Yeah, I saw her. It seemed to me, and again, I want to be very careful. I am not saying, and neither is Flash, are saying that she doesn't know basketball because she's a female. We're just saying, why on earth would you make this move? Why would you give up a generational talent who's a perennial all-star, first team all NBA, who last year made the finals, who's going to be in the discussion for the MVP? Why would you trade him? It doesn't make any sense at all.
Because I said it when the trade happened. I believed in the conspiracy. It's the only explanation. And again, I go back to them only negotiating with the Lakers. If I'm Nico, I know he's buddy with Pelinka too. But still, if I go to who's the ability, if you're going to call up somebody to be able to keep it hush hush, who is that? Your buddy Pelinka. And I firmly believe that the NBA pushed for this. I fully believe that the NBA
because of ratings.
Yeah, because of ratings. And if you're going to move a team to Las Vegas, and LeBron's not going to be around much longer, how do you sell a team without a generational talent in Vegas? How do you sell Vegas? You don't.
Do you know how bad this looks for the Dallas Mavericks? And do you know how good this makes Jerry Jones? Because Jerry Jones, for all the moves, the statements that he's made, guess what? You're giving him more of a reason to put money directly into his pockets. Because now with this move, now you're giving more of an opportunity for fans to come to AT&T Stadium and watch the Dallas Cowboys. Even though that the Dallas Cowboys are not in the same tier right now with the Eagles and the Commanders. But again, I just feel bad for Dallas Mavericks fans. And the reason why I mentioned with the Luka Deshaun Watson trade, it's understandable with the Browns because the Browns are prone to make horrible moves over and over again. But I wouldn't sleep on the Deshaun Watson one because you did give up 3 first-round picks in which Houston was able to capitalize by getting CJ Stroud and Will Anderson. Plus, none of y'all didn't mention this. It's not only Houston's getting the last laugh. What about Baker Mayfield?
No,
A
BRF.
guy who, oh yeah, I'm sorry, BRF mentioned it. A guy who they drafted with the #1 overall pick, and Champ has mentioned it numerous times on my pod, as well as Brandon's pod, as well as other pods. Cleveland wanted an adult in the locker room. Yeah, and you bring in Deshaun Watson, who's had numerous accusations of SA. And Baker has immaturity issues. Now, again, Baker Mayfield wasn't perfect as far as maturity during his time in Oklahoma and in the NFL, but he looks like, but he's a saint compared to Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson makes Baker Mayfield look like a choir boy.
I just want to say something too. Like it's again, this is kind of similar to Luka trade. Like in certain, Baker Mayfield was one bad call away from taking out the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And putting that team in an AFC championship game. One bad call away. And because you just thought, because he, again, played a year with an injured shoulder, mind you, and had a meh year, you're like, let's go get the guy that, had a lot of SA allegations, hadn't played really, and let's hand him a guaranteed deal and trade 3 first-round draft picks.
Yeah. Let's get rid of Jim McMahon and go get Lex Steele. But I digress.
Man, let me tell you something. The Cleveland Browns are one bad quarterback draft pick away from folding that franchise up faster than Deshaun Watson on the Messiah table.
Oh Lord.
But yeah, that's it's crazy when you think about it. But the thing is, and I said this on Sports PSP's show last night, by the way, and I don't mean to regurgitate the same information. An owner does not, either the owner is trying to sabotage the team itself, or the owner doesn't know basketball. Because the thing is this.
He did say that. Yes, you did. You did say that.
Because you have to think about this. Even if you are the most lamest person in the world towards basketball, you know who Luka is. And the reason why I say either you don't know basketball or you're trying to sabotage this team is because think about what having a Luka does for the economics of your team. Not just on the court, but the economics of the team, the economics of the city. The fact that you can take this guy and this player too with you on these philanthropy deals when they are a part of, when you see the Dallas Mavericks in the community and things like that, you have this as the face of your franchise. When y'all are having meetings at the country club with these other billionaires, this is who you take with you in order to be the ambassador, not only for your team, but for the league. And like I said,
You mentioned LeBron, champ, as when he left Cleveland, how much money did LeBron made at Cleveland?
over $3 billion was lost by Cleveland when LeBron left Cleveland. $3 billion. He was personally responsible for $3 billion on that economy.
And look, PSP brought up Jerry Jones before, and I've been one of the few Jerry Jones defenders, sort of, but I'm going to throw him another bone. He's one of the only few owners that never asked a dime to build a stadium.
That's right.
He didn't put it on the taxpayers to build that massive Texas.
Or as he calls it, the house that Jerry built.
The house that Jerry built. Yeah, and he actually did it. And so that's the thing. Like, for all the crap that Jerry Jones gets, not
just that, Flash. Jerry is bold. Unlike most other owners who sit behind the press box, Jerry's outspoken. For an example, when press conferences, win or loss after a game, who's talking? Who's speaking for the Dallas Cowboys? Jerry. Most owners, he has a radio show. Yeah.
And this has been my point the whole time. Like, I mean, if you want to criticize his coaching picks, sure. But honestly, if you look at his rosters,
He's had
rosters, and he's the GM. So he's just been bad at picking coaches. That's been his issue. But like overall, as an owner, like, I mean, I'm coming from the privilege of being a Packer fan, and they're owned by the city, so I don't deal with none of that nonsense. But as an owner, like, yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, does he have his flaws? Sure, but overall, he ain't that bad.
One thing I will give Jerry Jones is this, and this is what I have a problem with a lot of these owners. One thing I will give credit to Jerry Jones for, and I will give Dr. Buss and his family the credit for. They are not afraid to go out there in the press and say the buck stops here.
Yeah, and
it was my decision in order to do that.
Yep.
You forgot one owner, champ.
What's that?
Rest his soul, Al Davis.
Al Davis. Those are three owners that I admire, because when you see team make a dumb trade, like, what the hell? And they come out and say, no, don't blame the GM. Don't blame the coaches. Don't blame anybody. I did that. Yep. And I'll never forget the flack that Dr. Buss got for trading Shaq in 2004. I'm a Laker fan. I know I nearly broke one of my televisions when they said, you traded Shaq. What the hell are you doing? And come to find out, he was right. Shaq was getting ready to decline. He was getting ready to decline. After 2006, Shaq was not the same anymore.
He wanted $100 million. He also wanted $100 million, and Buss didn't want to pay him that type of money because ultimately he was going to give that money to Kobe. And Kobe even admitted that he was going to leave. He even said, me and my wife Vanessa were looking for houses in Chicago.
They were looking for exactly. They were looking for houses in Chicago. They were ready to go.
I know. I know. I still. Yeah. Okay. I mean, yes. Is it yes? In hindsight, yes. But that Laker franchise, up until they got Powell, I mean, let's not forget Kobe almost left before they got Powell too to go to Chicago. So,
he
did. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and Powell is kind of, boy, the Lakers are they
thank God for Mitch Kupchak for that move. That was a Mitch Kupchak move.
The you know that the biggest rivalry is the Celtics, but you know who has a 4-leaf clover in their ass? It's the Lakers, because they just get handed generational talents like it's candy, and it's disgusting. No offense, but it's just gross.
Hey man, we got Pau Gasol for Kwame Brown.
Yeah,
Kwame, if you watching, no offense to you, I know how you get down. But we just got Pau Gasol for Kwame Brown. Like I said, no disrespect to Kwame. I know how you get down. So I don't need you going on the tirade on me and my guys on the internet, because you know how Kwame get down. So, but
speaking of the Lakers, Buss was, at least he was willing to admit, hey, this was my move.
Yes.
I will admit it. Don't
Yes.
blame the GM. Don't blame the coaches. Don't blame everybody else. We're moving in a different direction. I decided to move on from Shaq and trade him. And plus, there was a lot of dysfunctionality during that time with the Lakers. And you knew at some point it was going to, I mean, let's not forget Karl Malone being in the team. And let's not forget the situation between Karl Malone and Kobe. Derek Fisher being the backup behind Gary Payton. Then when Phil left, of course, the book that he wrote the last season, in which he called out Kobe, in which he said, I won't coach this team anymore as long as he's on that roster. He won't listen to anyone. I've had it. And plus, he was all into Shaq. And then once Shaq left, Phil was like, I'm out of here.
And let's not forget, people, here's a part of that franchise. Sorry to interrupt you, Flash. I apologize, man. Here's one part of that I don't think people recognize on that Laker team in 2004. Gary Payton was not a good fit for that Laker team.
Oh, heck no.
I'm like, what are you doing? Because everybody knows that Gary Payton is a hand grenade in high tops. He don't know which way he's going to go. So I don't think he was a great fit for the triangle offense. And he openly admitted that he couldn't figure out the triangle offense. He couldn't figure it out.
Well, the triangle offense works is when it's designed for wing players. And Gary Payton wasn't a wing player. He was strictly a backcourt point guard. And to the triangle offense, like when it's why the Bulls it was a perfect offense for the Bulls. And to a certain extent the Lakers too. Like it involved Shaq a little bit more as a center, but as it was perfect for the Bulls and the wing players to have a typical backcourt point guard in a triangle offense. It just wasn't going to work. And then you throw in Karl Malone and Shaq, and Kobe. It just was a bad.
In the kitchen.
They got to the finals solely off of the back of. They got to the finals that year solely off the backs of Kobe and Shaq.
Oh yeah, and that's the stupid thing too, is that's where it's like you didn't need to add Malone and Gary Payton. That's the dumb thing.
I think they just did that just to attract fans, attract stars. That was really about it. But besides that, in terms of scheme, it was a bad fit. Gary is not that type of person that would fit that type of offense.
No,
it would work if you were more of like a traditional point guard or somebody like that, but that wasn't Gary. But the thing is, with the Mavs ownership, we have to hold them more accountable, because I feel like as our job as content creators and podcasters, we can't let the ownership off the hook. Nico, I still would. He's still, this still on him, but at the same time, let's not act like he's the scapegoat in all this. And with the ownership, essentially, what does it say? You don't really care about the fans. You're alienating the fans. You're just giving them the proverbial finger, and now you're giving them alternatives to either go to somewhere else to spend their time. And again, it hurts you because you're in a state like Texas, a die-hard football state that eats, breathes, sleeps football. You're giving them more of a reason to tune in to Texas, either the Texas Rangers game, the Dallas Cowboys game, the Texas Longhorn games, the Texas A&M Aggies games. That's something that you got to compete. And when you lose an asset like LUKA, how is it going to help you? And what's going to and how are you going to do moving forward in the offseason and in free agency? How are you going to acquire marquee talents by trading away a guy like LUKA?
I don't.
Another
I don't.
thing,
Honestly, I don't. I don't. I don't think. I don't think you do, because you look at the current state of the Dallas Mavericks now. You got Kyrie, you got AD, who are pretty much your big name guys. I wouldn't want to stay if I was them.
Well, that's exactly the point that I was going to bring up. Let's say even if the franchise does move to Vegas, why would you want to play for these owners?
Exactly. You don't trust them as far as they can throw them. If they can trade Luka Doncic, who's a top 3 player in the world, what the heck make you think they won't trade you?
This reminds me when that one Russian dude bought the Brooklyn Nets, and he was just like, I'm gonna make moves like I'm playing NBA 2K, and I know that dude. I'm gonna get him, and it's just like,
didn't know what he was doing, bro.
no, and I'm not gonna say anything about the Mavs owner because whatever, but I just like. She just comes across. She looks like a snake oil salesman. She does. She does. She looks like she's like a dirt car salesman from Vegas. She does. She looks like a gross human being that just goes like, I want money. And she again. This is. I think Champ mentioned it when the LUKA trade happened. This is straight out of.
Damn, Flashy, making her sound like she's Vince McMahon all of a sudden.
No, she's like the character from the. Oh my god, I can't think of the movie from the 80s. Baseball movie. With the Cleveland Indians and
Major League.
It's literally the same storyline essentially, just without trading your top player. It's the evil owner that just wants to tank the franchise, and she looks the part.
Let me ask you this question. I know I'm digressing, Champ. If James Dolan actually made a move by trading Luka Doncic, how much criticism or flack do you think he would have gotten?
A bunch. But
can you repeat that question?
We would have been. It's
James
James Dolan.
Dolan.
We would have been if James Dolan was the one pulling that trigger and trading the guy like Luka Doncic. We would have been less surprised because it's James Dolan.
Yeah, because you expect him to do something stupid.
I'm gonna just be honest with you, and then we'll move on to the next segment.
But I don't. Let me say one more thing before you go.
Go
I
ahead.
don't think James Dolan would have traded your star player for a bag of chips though.
I'm agreeing with Flash on that. I don't. He's made a lot of stupid decisions, but I don't think
And
he would
he's
have
known
been
for
that
taking care of his
stupid.
players. He's known for also
Exactly.
taking care. Just ask Tyson Chandler. When Tyson's Chandler
Mhm.
mother passed away, Dolan
Yeah.
actually allowed him to use his private jet to fly to games. And when games were done, he would use that private jet and fly back home to visit his mom under Dolan's consent. So, but James
Yeah.
Dolan would be smart enough not to pull off that type of move. But whether you
Yeah.
know basketball or not,
Right. Mm-hmm. I will give
his
him that. He wouldn't have pulled a move like that. I'll give James Dolan that amount of credit. He wouldn't have done that.
A
He wouldn't have
bad
pulled that.
basketball dude and a good person.
yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna just be real. This has Supersonics Part 2 written all over it. This has Supersonics Part 2 written all over it. And ironically, it's all happening because of a stadium.
Yep.
Because of a stadium. Because remember how bad Key Arena was?
Yeah.
Remember they said, I'll never forget, they said that stadium was so bad at a certain point that they could have sold out every game for the next 3 seasons and still not made a profit.
Wow.
Yeah.
They could have. They clearly stated we could have sold out every single game and the luxury boxes, and we could have sold out the concessions and everything every single game, and still wouldn't have made a profit. That's how bad that stadium was. But in this case, because you're trying to put a casino in a stadium, you want to leave and go to Vegas. And like I said, I believe they're looking at, and this is where the WNBA effect goes. They're looking at the effect that the Las Vegas Aces have had on that Vegas market. But what they're not factoring in is this. Vegas doesn't take too kindly of teams that are not theirs. The Las Vegas Aces are Vegas's team. They was born and brought up in Vegas.
And they've actually won.
Yeah, they've actually won.
The other thing too is like that's the don't get me wrong. I think there's a little bit of. Can you? I'm assuming the owner or owners are looking at it and they go, well, if we move to Vegas, you can literally build a sports complex based around the Aces. Now you have two. You have Asia Wilson and you have Luka Doncic in Vegas, and that in their mind just screams money. But I did not. I mean, but look at this. But look at right now. Nobody goes to Vegas anymore. Look at WrestleMania. Like I know I know we're gonna get to wrestling later, but I'm just gonna tie it into this. This is one of the lowest selling WrestleManias ever.
Outside of WrestleMania 9, yes.
Because, dude, everybody's living paycheck to paycheck. Like, and honestly, like, there's so many other places to go besides Vegas. This is like the NFL's obsession with Los Angeles. Like,
it would have been more marketable if you moved it to the South. If you move WrestleMania to the South, that way you can have the diehard fan base and stuff like that. It would definitely sell a lot more money and tickets. But with Vegas, when you move to a place like Vegas, you got a lot more things to do. And
Plus,
I'm not going to Vegas to go to WrestleMania. I'm going to Vegas to go to Vegas.
right.
well, the thing is, plus Vegas has outpriced everything at this point. Remember, nobody was at the Super Bowl. Well, nobody was at Las Vegas when the Super Bowl was occurring. Nobody was at Las Vegas when the Final Four was occurring. Nobody was at Las Vegas when the WNBA finals were occurring. Nobody was there during these major sporting events. And I will end it on this note before we go into the next segment. It is sad that the Dallas Wings with Paige Beckers is going to be more of an attraction than the Dallas Mavericks next year.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they are.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Oh
are.
yeah.
They're going to be a bigger attraction than the Dallas Mavericks are next year because you're
Like,
going to have, you're going to have Paige Beckers, Erica Gumbawale, and you're going to have Dejanay Character.
Yep. I would rather go watch. I'd rather pay money to go watch the Chicago White Sox than to actually go pay money to watch the Dallas Mavericks and give that owner an ounce of time or money.
Oof.
Yep.
That's saying something.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. But I got to ask y'all this, man. This is a two-part question, by the way. Can the third seed Lakers realistically win a title? And if this year in the finals ends up being the Celtics versus the Lakers, what will it mean for the rivalry and the league at this point? And is that just what the league needs, is a Lakers versus Celtics finals?
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! I'll start with the second. I'll start with the second part. If we get realistically, yes, the LA Lakers can win the NBA title this year because look at what they just did recently through Oklahoma City. So I mean, it's like the one thing I was worrying about with the Lakers was the depth on their roster outside of Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves, really, because you could throw him in there too. But they're showing more capabilities. They're showing more abilities outside of those three, with like Rui Hachimura, throw Gabe Benson in there. I think the Dorian Finney-Smith trade has been huge. Having him as another 3-and-D guy to either start or come off the bench, be able to lock people up and give you a three from the corner, threes or some outside scoring here and there. And getting Jared Vanderbilt back as another 3-and-D guy. I mean, their depth is slowly coming back. It's slowly starting to come back, and you see it with each passing game. So I realistically do think they can win the title. I will say this though: their weak link is still the center position, because I do not trust Jackson Hayes at all, because he's not dynamic enough to be the kind of center that can get you to the promised land to win an NBA title. But at the same time, no, I also feel like with the LeBron James and a Luka Doncic, they're gonna put with two guys with IQs of their nature, of their standing. They're gonna put a guy like Jackson Hayes in positions, whether it's defensive rebounds, offensive rebounds, putbacks. Because Jackson Hayes, we say what we want about him, he's not the greatest center in the world. The dude is athletic as hell, and he is an alley-oop lob monster underneath that rim. They will find ways to put him in positions to make plays and get buckets and get rebounds. LeBron and Luka are going to find a way.
But see,
So realistically, go ahead. No, you go ahead, Flash.
No. I just want to say, what Luka's with the trade for Luka, what it does for the Lakers is this extends LeBron's career. By the way, it should at least. Okay. But everybody was concerned about depth, and I was too. But at the same time, when you add somebody like Luka, like LeBron can. Here's the thing: LeBron can take a quarter to concentrate on defense now. I know and as much as I disagree with the argument of like, well, he's going to save his energy for because he's been doing that for years. He's going to save his energy for offense. Now he's got no excuses. So now let's say you want to put LeBron on SGA for a quarter. You want to put LeBron, and throw him at whoever now on a quarter. He can just literally use his energy on defense.
Williams or Dort.
What?
Williams or Dort, the other players I think you're referring to from OKC.
Yeah. So like it essentially just it creates Luka's trade creates a domino effect for the rest of the roster. And it just changes up, like, again, because Luka can just be he can essentially just do what LeBron's been doing. It's just be the point forward, which is what Luka is. But now you can just have, and LeBron can be literally the coach on the court. So putting Jackson in the right spot to just do what he needs to do. because as much as I'm kind of a LeBron hater at one point, like dude's one of the his basketball IQ is insane. So I mean but as far as the Lakers and the Celtics, dude, the anger, the fueled, it's weird because as I call myself a mild Celtics fan. As a mild Celtics fan, I don't know, this team doesn't have the lovability that past Boston teams had for some reason. I don't know why, but it just doesn't. There's a different feel to this Boston team. And I don't know if a Lakers Celtics series generates that much.
I believe a Celtics Warriors, maybe.
What?
Celtics Warriors.
That might.
The rematch, because again, I think now that the Celtics have just won the championship, and now I think Jason Tatum, how's he going to handle the situation in the Warriors compared to the first time? It's going to be interesting to see because now with the new head coach, with Joe Mazzulla, how's he going to handle Brown and Tatum in situations? Plus Al Horford there, the experience. So I believe Celtics and Lakers not just only on the court but also off the court as far as with the ratings, the old rich tradition rivalry. As far as with the Lakers, can they come out of the West? Sure, because if they go up against OKC, they could win at least 5 or 6 in a series. But Golden State would give them the toughest test, though, because of what Steph can do, and especially now with Jimmy Butler there. Jimmy has experience with playoff basketball, playoff Jimmy. So we'll see how that goes. The Clippers, we know with the Clippers. James Harden come postseason time. We know what he is. And plus, can you trust Kawhi Leonard to stay healthy? Again, never questioning or doubting Kawhi's game, but can he stay healthy? That's been the question mark with Kawhi Leonard. But I think I would love to see this. It'll never happen. A Knicks Lakers finals. It'll never happen because the Knicks, at best case scenario, they'll probably get to the conference semis, even though they're 0-10 against top notch teams. They're going up against Detroit. Detroit hasn't won a playoff game since 2008. And that was the last time they were in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then which they lost to the Boston Celtics. But I think to see a Knicks Lakers rivalry in the finals, I think that'd be entertaining because New York, LA, the money. Stephen A. Smith is gonna go at it because we all know he's a diehard New York Knicks fan, but he loves himself some LA. I don't really think it has to be Celtics Lakers. It could be any other, but I think we just have to respect and appreciate the basketball that we have. I mean, that's what I really have to say regarding that. I know I sound clumsy, but no.
It's fine. Go ahead, BRF.
Me personally, I still think a Lakers Celtics series would generate the most ratings. I still do. I look at it from the standpoint of LeBron James being a 40-year-old LeBron James, but still being as good as player as he is, and being arguably the most polarizing NBA superstar in the history of the sport. People are going to watch that series to want to see him fail. I think just off of that, I think off of that alone, I still think a Lakers Celtics finals will still generate the most finals, just because people are going to want to watch it to see. People are going to watch it in support of him, but you're going to have a lot of those people that don't like LeBron that are going to watch it, and they're going to be like, the minute he fails, they're going to be the main ones posting on Facebook, posting on TikTok, posting on IG, laughing at the LeBron fans because, hey, we told you what was going to happen. I still think a Lakers Celtics finals would still generate the most ratings just off of the polarization, off of LeBron James being as polarizing as he is.
I kind of smell one coming too.
I think
obviously, if LeBron loses the finals, and considering how the way he performs in the finals, if it's tantamount to what we saw from him in the finals in 2011 against Dallas, make no surprise, Skip and Stephen A. are going to roast his ass.
I don't think LeBron. Look, as much as I'm not even really a LeBron hater. I just don't think he's the GOAT, and I will stand on that pedestal until I die. But
that's fine.
So I'm not really a hater. I don't think LeBron's gonna be. He's past that where he just like I don't he won't fail like that. Like he's past that mental hurdle at this point. I don't think that happens. I think the only way that anything like that happens is if he's injured. So I again, as a LeBron non-GOATist, but he won't do that. That's the thing. And honestly, I think it would be. I would hope he would. This would be more of a Luka finals than it would be a LeBron finals. In my opinion.
Go ahead.
I'll throw one more. Now we'll throw one more thing in there real quick before we kind of keep the show pushing. We're all kind of like having this kind of gut feeling that it's going to be a Lakers Celtics finals. I am not for 1 second about to rule out the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the reason why I'm not going to rule them out in the series against the Lakers, because I feel like the X factor for that entire series is Chet Holmgren. Because everybody's looking at SGA and Jalen Williams. I get that. If Chet Holmgren goes off, I don't think the Lakers stand a chance because they don't have a center that can hang with him.
I'm going to sound like a complete conspiracy theorist, but I also I am from Milwaukee, and one of the most egregious, obvious conspiracy theories is keeping that 2001 Bucks team out of the finals against Philly.
Oh, thank God! I thought you were making an argument for the Bucks to make the finals this year. Flash.
Oh no! I was saying that 2001 Bucks team should have been in the finals. And by the way, I think they were 4-0 against the Lakers that year. But
yes,
that's a whole that is one of the biggest, most egregious. The NBA stepped in and said that's not going to happen. And there's no way in hell the NBA is going to allow in a year where the ratings have been down that they're even going to let a Cleveland Cavalier and Oklahoma City Thunder finals to happen. I can't see. It's just like the Yankees and the Dodgers last year. I just smell it coming. The writing's on the wall, and it makes me kind of sick.
But wait a minute. Time out. Chet being slick, because I know exactly why he asking this question. He just wants to go to Cali so that he could walk on Venice Beach, Rodeo Drive, go to Randy's Donuts, and chill in L.A. Even though he is Columbus, Georgia's own and loves himself some Columbus, Georgia, he would love to walk in the streets in L.A.
Shit, I don't blame him. That's LA.
Who wouldn't? I'm just being real. Who wouldn't? I'll bring y'all with me, man. We gonna go. It might not be a Magic City out there, but we gonna find one. But I digress.
LA probably got about 30, man. I'm sure you'll find something.
But I digress. I think Lakers Celtics is exactly what they need this year. I think it is, and I think it's gonna end up happening. And I think the role for each team is gonna be something to behold. You're going to see a lot of like miracle games coming up in the playoffs. You're going to see a lot of them. And I believe wholeheartedly when we see that, that's the boost that it's going to, because the only thing that you need, because anytime something outside of the tradition happens in order to bring down ratings, whether it's player empowerment, whether it's too much free agency, things of that nature, only thing it takes to bring back the true fan is tradition. And what better tradition than with the Boston Celtics and the Lakers? Not to mention, each generation has their own GOATs, if you really want me to be honest with you, as far as, players. We saw Bird and Magic. We saw Paul Pierce versus Kobe twice. Now, do we get to see, even if the Lakers lose, do we get to see the torch being passed from LeBron James to this younger generation of players, that being Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown?
I do like PSP's idea of having the Knicks and the Lakers. It would be interesting to see the country dynamic on that, because the Knicks, for as downtrodden of a franchise as they've been for years, I
If
think
the Knicks win a championship with James Dolan as the owner, can you imagine how much
yeah,
love Dolan may get?
well, yeah, but if you look at that team, like they would be the media darling.
Oh yeah, especially in a market like New York.
No, but I'm not even saying just in New York. Like, can you imagine a New York team being the media darling? And I'm not talking about the media darling in New York. I'm talking about country. They would be the cute underdogs going against the Lakers. They'd be the Chicago Cubs. They would be the Cleveland Indians. They would be that. It's weird to say that, but that's what they would be because, like, the way that team plays compared to the star power of the Lakers with Luka and LeBron. But it would be weird though because I think there'd be a lot of fanfare behind Luka. That's the thing. That's the weird dynamic to me because I think a lot of people would be behind Luka. The problem is they would be like, "Ew, I have to root for the Lakers and LeBron," because everybody adores Luka right now.
Not to mention the fact that the New York Knicks, remember, they were the Villanova Knicks because of all the moves of Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, Mikal Bridges. Until they traded DiVincenzo, they were called the Villanova Knicks, kind of like the Eagles, like the Georgia Eagles or the Philadelphia Bulldogs.
Yeah, I would actually love a Knicks Lakers finals. I think that would be.
Can I be honest with you? I wouldn't.
Why?
I don't think it would be that close of a series. I think the Lakers would destroy them.
Because of the Knicks, the record, they're 0-10 against top-notch
Well,
teams. Not to mention the Tom
Yeah.
Thibodeau. What's been the knock on Thibodeau?
He won't
well,
to the ground.
it ain't that. The reason why I think the Thunder would give the Lakers hell is the reason why I think the Lakers would run through the Knicks. As much as I love Karl Anthony Towns, he's not as defensive minded a center as Chet Holmgren is. And I think that would bite the Knicks in the butt in a 7-game series against the LA Lakers.
That's the thing. But the only thing that Cat could do, I mean, if he could try to use his size and post up against Chet Holmgren, because obviously Chet is a skinny dude, but that's still going to be a problem because of what Chet can do as far as his rim protection and shot blocking.
Exactly. That's like when you compare, like when you like if you compare the two centers, and let's say you put them in a series, like okay, let's just say the Thunder play the Knicks. I'm not sure where the standings are. I'm not sure what the standings are now. I think with the standings the way they are now, I think with the standings are, they could play. I think they could play them in the Western Finals. I think where the standings are now, I'm not sure. With Oklahoma City and LA, I think it would be a Western Conference Finals matchup. The way the seating is, I'm not sure.
They
But
are
yeah.
right now. Sorry, I just to back your up. Yes, they could. So right
Yeah,
now,
because Oklahoma's the 1 seed. Yeah, Oklahoma's the 1 seed. LA's the 3 seed. So yeah, they could ultimately meet up in the Western Conference Finals. I'm looking at Cat and I'm looking at Chet and I'm comparing the two and how they play. He's a good offensive player. He's not the offensive player that Karl Anthony Towns is, but I feel like Chet's defensive prowess outweighs Karl Anthony Towns on that end so much. Like if the Lakers would rather see Cat in the finals as opposed to Chet Holmgren in the Western Conference Finals. Because of how Chet plays defensively, his rim protection and all that, I think he would give the Lakers so much fits as far as like being able to alter shots, offensive and defensive rebounding. I think he would have so many advantages from that perspective. He's a way worse matchup for the Lakers than Karl Anthony Towns is. I think if the Lakers were to see the Knicks in the NBA Finals, I think it'd be a 5-game series top.
And plus, even though he's not the shooter that Cat is, don't underestimate Chet's ability to stretch the floor and hit some perimeter shots here and there.
Exactly. He gives you enough offense. He gives you enough offensively with his defense to be as balanced a player as he is. He will give the Lakers so much. He give them so much hell in a 7-game series.
Yeah.
Big homie Champ, did y'all talk about Michael Malone?
That is our next topic. If you would like to stay and join us for dinner, my friend.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, I'll let you go first. Mike Malone fired. Is this the dumbest move made by the Nuggets, and will they ever recover?
No. It is a dumb move because remember you talked about the Nuggets being one of the 4 teams out of the ABA to be integrated into the NBA and win the championship. My thing is the timing. We're about a week away from the play-in tournament in the NBA playoffs, and you make this move. It's being
Yeah.
reported that Michael Malone and Calvin Booth did not see eye to eye. Michael Malone is hard nosed, hard old school. It's being reported that players had issues with Jokic and Murray receiving preferential treatment. My, it's not a big deal to me as far as Jokic and Murray getting preferential treatment because they are
But
the
it's hard.
cornerstones of that franchise. Jokic is about to be Jokic is a 3-time MVP, possibly a 4-time league MVP, either between him or SGA. It's also being reported from the Athletic that players lost faith in Michael Malone after he gave Russell Westbrook special treatment. I mean, look, certain athletes are going to get preferential treatment because of their status and what they are. I mean, we've seen it before. We've seen athletes that haven't won championships get preferential treatment. Look at James Harden. I mean, hell, look, him and Champ were hanging out at Denny's or Hardee's or whatever restaurant during James Harden's last time in Houston. Let's not forget
Mhm.
that. But the thing is with Denver, they're not winning a championship anytime soon. Plus, they're not the same defensively. Last
Not
year, they were seventh in opponents' points per game. They're at 23rd. And losing guys like Katavius Caldwell Pope, KCP, Michael Porter Jr. being injured. Denver, after the All Star break, they struggled. And on top of that, they lost 4 straight. So there was a lot of tension. The thing is the timing. The timing of the decision. You're a week away from the play in tournament. You're a week away from the playoffs, and you make this move, and you think you're going to put yourself in the best position possible to win a championship. That's like somebody starting a diet and trying to lose weight, and they only have 1 week to do that. It doesn't make any sense. So my thing is with the Nuggets, this is dumb, this is stupid on his part, and what we've seen is a pattern with coaches getting fired who've just won championships. Budenholzer, Nick Nurse. Is it because the players now have too much leverage? And if the players are complaining, then I don't know. This is it's just baffling to me. What we're seeing is a pattern of coaches who've won championships or have had success being fired because of how the league is nowadays with the player empowerment. And Michael Malone, 471, 321 record during his time with Denver, a winning percentage of 59. He was able to help deliver a championship to that franchise. Been with the organization for 10 years, finished with a 47 and 32 record. So how is Denver going to get any better? And plus, with this type of move, even though Jokic even admitted that he knew this was going to transpire.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna possibly going to keep him because you're gonna because of the 3 year extension that you could offer him? So there's no guarantee Denver's gonna compete for a championship, but this is just mind boggling to me, man. It's unbelievable. As Don King said, only in America.
Flash.
I mean, this goes to I've been harking on this for it's my big thing, and anytime I make a video or I'm on this show is that people just make change for the sake of making change, and when you make a change, what are you replacing that change with? Like, I don't get it. I agree with PSP. The timing is terrible. I mean, you already won a title. He's developed like
Your first one in
possibly
franchise history.
he's developed possibly. I mean, now we're starting to creep into the argument. If he wins another MVP, is he the greatest center of all time? I don't think so. But but it's the discussion's there, and,
Yeah,
and
it's fair.
so and but
Flabbergasting.
yeah, just because I look at it and I just go like, what more does a coach have to do? And it's just like, and that's the thing. It's like these players, and again, I saw a report that oh my god, I keep wanting to say Luka. What's his face? Nugget center that I was just talking about.
Jokic.
Jokic.
I don't look on my brain. Anyways, that he was frustrated with the defense. Well, dude, like that's kind of one of the drawbacks of your game is like your defense. So I think you should be kind of the last person, if that report is true, talking about talking about the frustration with the defense. Like I mean, I always kind of believe when it's either incompetence or there's more to the story that we're not hearing.
BRF.
Man, bro, I thought the Taylor Jenkins firing from Memphis was crazy. But then it was coming out like, I think a story came out with him that, players, particularly John Morant, weren't happy with how the offense was being run and all this other stuff. And I'm looking at it like, bro, y'all are fifth seed in the West. What are y'all doing at the time? And with this one and this, I'm trying to figure out which players are mad about the preferential treatment because you got to look at it. The core four from that championship are still on that roster. When you look at Nikola Jokic, you look at Jamal Murray, you look at Aaron Gordon, you look at Michael Porter Jr. They're all on that roster still. Who's mad? Who's so upset that caused Mike Malone to lose his job? Who is that upset?
And is anybody that surprised? Like it's the star player. Yeah, he's going to get preferential treatment.
I'm saying like the core four is there. These were the leaders of the championship team a couple years ago. These were the core four. And then and Russell Westbrook, who's only a former MVP, who's only in the conversation of being like top 10 point, like in the top 10, top 15, whatever point guards of all time. He's one of the greatest point guards of all time, and was happy playing with the Denver Nuggets, was happy at points this season. Like, you see the look on his face. You see how he interacted with the teammates. He was happy playing basketball. He was happy playing basketball again. So I'm like, what? Like, who was mad? That's all I want to know. Who was so upset to cause Mike Malone to lose his job? Because I look at it like this. I mean, even you could have at least rolled this out for the remaining part of the season because it's the NBA playoffs. Who knows what happens once you cross that start line and no playoffs start? Because when the playoff starts, everybody's 0-0. Them records revert. It's 0-0 again. So when you in the playoffs, whether you the first seed or the 8th seed, things fall your way and flip in your favor. You never know what'll happen. And with a guy like Nikola Jokic, who's like who might be possibly having the best season of his career after winning 3 MVPs. Like what I don't know. I don't know. I didn't know. I didn't know what they were thinking either. I don't think this is the dumbest move ever. I don't think it's necessarily the dumbest
Could
move
it be
ever
the
because
NBA's way of just trying to get ratings? Because that's what I'm starting to feel like more and more nowadays. When you make moves like this, it has to be based on ratings. Now, look, maybe it's just conjecture or speculation on my part, and I'm willing to admit it. But with the Russell, okay, I can understand Jokic and Murray getting preferential treatment, and I can understand Russell Westbrook getting preferential treatment. And I made the argument myself with Champ on my pod last night. Look, I understand by bringing in new players, fine. We'll do what we can to accommodate them. We want to we will make accommodations for them. We will make sacrifices for them. But at the same time, are you willing to make sacrifices for the team as well? And I asked Champ, is that fair to say? He said yes, but you also have to understand by bringing in these types of talents, you have to make these types of accommodations in order to ease in or smooth the situation. So maybe we don't know. There's a lot more than what's being reported. Now, what maybe Russell Westbrook or somebody had to do something in order for Mike Malone being fired. Or it could be
Yeah.
because of, again, it's been reported that Malone and Booth were not eye to eye. And
Yeah,
maybe that also
but why now? Like
I
Booth.
but that's the thing I don't understand. You had all this time in the regular season. You could have, or even after the season was over, you could have fired and made the move. Then
Or
it
You could have
the
rolled
way
this
it was
out.
handled, it was unprofessional on the Nuggets ownership part.
do it
You
during
could
the
you
All-Star
could have
break.
rolled this out to after you could have rolled this out to after the playoff because you never know. Nikola Jokic with he's been on one all year. You never know. Him and Jamal Murray get hot at the same time. We know what Jamal Murray is capable of in the playoffs. We've seen it firsthand. Who knows? You could have rolled that out, and you never know what could have happened. Now we won't know. I don't see the Nuggets going. I don't see the Nuggets going that far after this. I mean, it's just this. It's too much on their plate, too much drama, too much on their brain. I do not see them going far at all after this.
Hey, now look. I said this. Champ asked me. This was a couple weeks ago, I think, when we were talking about the NBA ratings during the regular season. And he asked me, I think the overall question in general was like, are you shocked by the fact that the NBA has low ratings? And I said no, because the NBA is driven by drama, and it has been for years. It's driven by like people like us and the talking heads on ESPN. And I find it funny that ever since that topic has been a thing about how the NBA ratings are down, there's so much drama happening. And it's created more eyeballs. At least on social media it has. I don't know about the ratings, have they gone up?
I'm starting to feel like more and more nowadays with the NBA, based on how the way it's operating, it's becoming more like the Kardashians.
Yeah. I think I even said that it was like the Kardashians on the pod here. I'm like this. It's literally it's just reality TV. That's all it is. Because for a while, an NBA topic was which NBA player is the Kardashian dating now?
Doc Rivers. I
Yeah,
even made the argument Doc Rivers has gotten more opportunities as a head coach than the Kardashians have with men.
yeah. Again, this is my point. This is kind of my point of why.
You gonna get me kicked off the app, bro? You kick Shit.
What did I say?
It wasn't you, that damn PSP. You gonna get us
Oh,
kicked off the app, bro?
but this is
Hey,
kind of
wait a
my
minute. You shouldn't even be talking considering the comments you have about Joy Taylor, but that's a story for another day.
Hey man, look, man, that peanut butter skin is something serious, man. Jason Whitlock was right for once in his life. I don't know about
that,
everything else, but
dude. That compares nothing to the Alexa Bliss dipping her tit in a drink cost, so it cost $25 that I made last week.
yeah, that was lovely.
Yeah.
She,
So, anywho,
Lord.
back to the topic of conversation.
Please.
Now I lost my train of thought. Son of a. Where were we again?
Oh Jesus.
We were on the Denver Nuggets as far as firing Michael Malone and how athletes getting preferential treatment. Look, it's no surprise athletes have gotten preferential
Well, of
treatment.
course, but again, you could
But
have
the
done.
timing of the decision, I don't get it. Why now you fire him when you're just a week away from the playoffs and the play-in tournament? I mean, granted, there's going to be frustrations. Look, all of us, we work for a living, and sometimes we don't like it when the boss or whoever in management pisses us off, or who or whatever our employees pisses us off. But why now you make the decision to fire him when you could have done it maybe early in the season or after the season? Once the season is over, then you can move on and start fresh.
I
I
just
don't understand it.
I don't. But I don't know. Again, this goes to the it's the drama. That was it. It's the drama aspect of the league. It's what they it's what the league thrives on. And right now, I just feel like moves like this create drama, and puts eyeballs in the NBA, but not where they want it. Like and maybe RJD. Oh my Lord.
Casual.
That's
Shout out to
casual. That's
Casual.
Casual. Is right. Maybe it's just a viable excuse because they can't win the title this year. But why? You still have the best player in the league. Like it's not like you guys are a 7th seed. I mean,
I'm telling you. You got a guy in Nikola Jokic who's arguably the best player in the league. I think he is the best player in the league. You got a guy in Jamal Murray who's been one of the more clutch playoff performers over the past few years. You could have rolled this out and see where it took you. Now we ain't gonna know. Because I don't trust you're not going to trust a team to operate on a high level after a move like this. You're not, because granted it's a voice you might be used to as far as like if it's somebody offensive, defensive. Yeah, it might be a voice you recognize that's going to come in as an interim, but then now he's going to be the guy. He's going to be the ruler. He's going to be the guy over everybody. You're not used to him in that capacity as a voice. So it's like, what do you do?
We don't know which head coach they're probably going to go with. Maybe they're going to look for an experienced one, or who knows, maybe go for a young college coach for all we know. Again, it's just conjecture. To Casual's point, he says it right here. They lost 4 games, and one of those losses because he played Westbrook longer than he should have. And yeah, that to Casual's point, sometimes with Russell Westbrook, as great and as exciting as he is prone to make a lot of mistakes.
And I think I know the game, and I think I remember the game he's talking about too, because Russell Westbrook made some bad plays late in that game. I think I know exactly the one he's talking about. Russell Westbrook made some bad plays and one. And he made some bad decisions in the end of one of those games. I can't remember which team it was, but I'm pretty sure it was definitely that game he's talking about.
My thing is this: we saw this happen with a team that won a title that kind of hit the skids in their 2nd and 3rd year after winning. We saw this with the Houston Rockets. And they ended up winning the title as a 6th seed. And the thing is, what kind of precedent is it setting in the NBA that every time the players don't like what the coaches are doing, that the coaches end up getting fired? Y'all got to understand this. I don't think people understand this. Michael Jordan was not a Phil Jackson fan when he first got there. He wasn't. He has openly been on record. He said, I hated Phil Jackson.
He loved Doug Collins more than him.
Huh?
He loved Doug Collins more than Phil Jackson.
And he arguably had some of his statistical greatest seasons with Doug Collins.
Yeah, point in 88, 89, I think Jordan won MVP and Defensive Player of the Year that year.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, the dunk contest, the scoring title, and first team all defensive. So he had
his 37 points per game season. I think his 87-88 where he went for like 37 was Doug Collins.
Yeah. So when he first got there, he was not a Phil Jackson fan because he was like, "You're trying to take the ball out of my hands, but I'm the greatest scorer arguably ever in the league. But you're trying to take the ball out of my hands to get me to facilitate? Heck no." I mean, Kobe couldn't stand Phil Jackson when he was at the Lakers. Yet he ended up asking for it back after Rudy Tomjanovich left. I mean, sometimes Magic and Pat Riley didn't always get along.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of history of coaches not particularly getting along with players, but yet these players ended up winning championships with them. And the thing is, look, I'm going to just keep it real. Every star player is going to get that treatment. They're going to get that treatment. So if you complain about that, you might as well you preach it to the choir, as we say down south, because everybody has that one or either 3 workers at the job that we know this idiot is late every day. He's late every day. He don't never come in on time. Yet that's our best guy. He knows what he's doing. When the fires come up at work, they go get him. When things happen at work, come up unexpected, let's just say, go get Murphy. The minute Murphy gets in, go get him. I know he knows what to do. And he's a problem solver on his feet. But yet he always late because he wants to go to Starbucks every morning. So what? When your production outweighs your headaches, then guess what? It's all good.
It's like the thing that Jimmy Johnson said years ago about Troy Aikman.
Champ mentioned that on the show. Yeah,
if Troy Aikman falls asleep in a team meeting, I'm not going to cut Troy Aikman. If the 6th-string cornerback falls asleep in a team meeting, yeah, I'm going to cut his ass. So yes, there's preferential treatment.
Yeah, remember what he said? The first day he said, yeah, I cut John Roper because he fell asleep in the meeting. If it would have been Troy Aikman, I'd have tapped him on the shoulder and say, hey, Troy, wake up right now. And then walk right back to my seat. So
it's amazing, Champ, how we had that conversation with Tim Tebow last night. Because remember, I told you with Babyface or heel between Tim Tebow, the only reason why I told you I said Tim Tebow is a tweener is because as a talent, is he enough for you to tolerate? Yes, he's a great guy, great human being, but at the end of the day, Champ, I'm trying to win. And if he's not even producing at a high level, what's the point of keeping him on the team? Because of his likability?
like I said, you could be middle of the pack and likable, and people will keep you quicker than you being I hate to say this, being an asshole and you being on top of the food chain. People and like I said on the show last night, I've been through this myself where I didn't necessarily know how to do a job as great as somebody else did. But because I was likable and willing to learn, they gave me more the benefit of the doubt than they did the guy who did it faster than I was. Guess who lasted longer at the company? I did. They didn't like dealing with the guy. We all know that guy who knows his job up, down, left, right. We all know one guy that knows his craft left, right, front, back, down, side to side. But he's so unlikable that you don't want to deal with it. You don't. We've seen this in the NFL time and time again. Well, yeah, you are a good football player, but as far as you being likable and being a locker room cancer, that's what you are. So I don't want you here. Yet you see guys in the middle of the pack end up going somewhere, and guess what? Their production may be lackluster at times, but they can get hot and be good at their best, and yet teams stick with them. Nobody likes to deal with the know-it-all type of guy. No one. I mean, nobody likes to deal with that one guy. That's why you see a lot of content creators that are on TikTok that, although their knowledge is great, they're so unlikable that people just hate them. You see it on TikTok all the time. So their knowledge may be great, but because this guy's a butt, you really don't see people rolling with him like that. You see it. So yeah, of course. And the thing is, this is in a land of hurricanes where everybody wants to be the big bad wolf. Everybody wants to be a character. Everybody wants to be, the bad guy or whatever. Everybody wants to be the villain. They're obsessed with being the villain. Everybody likes to see the good guy win. Tebow is the good guy that you want to see win. You want to see the good guy win. So you put the good guy in opportunity so he can. And when he does, and the thing about Tim Tebow, he's not so good, he makes you sick. When he doesn't do well, he holds himself accountable. When he got cut from Jacksonville, he said to himself, if I make that block in that end zone right there, I'm still on the team, and that's my fault. And that's why I say he's a babyface, because guess what? You want to see the good guy win, man. The thing is,
go ahead,
that's why people want to see, don't worry about it. That's why people want to see Russell Wilson win. He's a good guy. People will say people will say he's corny, but he's the good guy. That's what you want to see win. You don't want to see the bully win. You don't want to see the butthole win. He wins enough in life. He's already rich, good looking, has the supermodel girlfriend, has a Lamborghini. You don't want to see him win.
But at the same time, Champ, I understand the personality point, and people want to see the good guys win. People want to see. People love. to see an happy ending, a happy narrative, but that's not always going to be like that. And at the end of the day, I'm trying to win, regardless of how I feel about somebody. I may not have to like them. I don't care if we're ever friends. I don't care if we hang out to a restaurant or bar. But at the end of the day, I know what I'm going to get as far as winning. I mean, look, Flash would know this better than anybody else here. Flash, who is your greatest wrestler of all time?
Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels, back then in the 90s, was a prick. That's not a knock, that's a fact.
You're being
But
generous.
yeah,
He being nice.
I'm being
Yeah, you're
generous
being
when I say
nice
that.
there.
But hell, Shawn Michaels was one of the few who actually turned it around, found God, decided to clean up his act and get his life together. No matter what Shawn Michaels was back at the end of the day, I'm still going to keep him because regardless of how much of an ass he was back then, I know what I'm going to get. I know I'm going to get a great show. Shawn Michaels has a match with the Broom. Heck, I'm going to see that. I'm going to pay my hard earned money. And the reason why I say with Tebow as a tweener champ is because with Tebow, he's gotten opportunities that a lot of people look at and you say, did he really deserve it? Or did he just got it because of his relationships? And plus, not to mention, even though he works hard, still in all, he was not known for being the greatest practice player in the world. Yes, I know he's going to work hard. I know Tim Tebow's going to say and do all the right things. And he's a lot more tolerable to deal with because of how great he is, how the way he carries himself, how the way he conducts himself. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to win. And he's had opportunities throughout his career to turn it around. Denver, okay, at some think about this. Do you actually think that Tim Tebow was actually going to sit behind Peyton Manning? They know they were going to sign Peyton Manning. There was no way that Tim Tebow was going to start over Peyton Manning. Even if Peyton Manning was on crutches or in a hospital bed, I'm still going to pick Peyton Manning as my quarterback over Tim Tebow. He goes to New York, the Jets. Now, the Jets, they sabotaged him. They sabotaged him because they put him as a gimmicky gadget type of dude. They made him gain weight. They made him play fullback. Considering how awful Mark Sanchez was that season, which he led the NFL in turnovers and infamously later known as the butt fumble, at some point Tim Tebow should have started and played. Regardless if they won or lost games, just at least let him play. Okay, that didn't work out. Then he goes to New England. He gets an opportunity to sit behind Tom Brady. It's Tom Brady's job to lose. He couldn't even win the job in New England. Then he goes to Pittsburgh. I'm sorry, Philadelphia, because of Chip Kelly. And that's the offense that best suited Tim Tebow's skill set. He couldn't succeed. And the reason why he got drafted by Denver, could it be because of Josh McDaniels? And could it be and then after NFL, he tried baseball. How did that work out? Now
Yeah, well, he actually did okay.
he did okay.
He did
Now
okay.
ESPN, I don't mind him working at ESPN because of his personality, because of what he accomplished throughout his time in college football, SEC. So I have no problem with Tim Tebow with ESPN. I
No.
say, and then with Jacksonville, the only reason why he got the job in Jacksonville was two things. One, because of Urban Meyer, and two, where's Tim Tebow from? Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
So, of course, they're going to sell tickets. Plus, to your point, Champ, who runs Jacksonville? The Khan family. Who runs AEW Wrestling? That should tell you everything you need to know, right? As you told me before, right?
I actually do like him as a commentator. He's actually pretty good.
As a commentator, yes.
Yeah, he's found his niche, like where he can still be involved in sports, and I don't think there's anything bad about Tim Tebow being involved in sports. But to your point, PSP, you're right. Like, I mean, to go back to the Shawn Michaels thing, like Undertaker has said this in multiple interviews. He's like, I hated Shawn Michaels before he came back and found God.
Even if Shawn was on fire, I wouldn't even throw water on him to set the fire up.
But Taker always said though, there's nobody I'd rather be in the ring with. Like that, like Shawn was that good. Like that again. I mean, Taker said it himself. He could have a 5-star match with a wet mop. Like that. That's how good Shawn was. And so, to your point, yeah. At the end of the day, it is about winning. It's just and people will love you if you're a prick and you can win. Look at Jordan. Jordan was you talk about a hole. like, man, the stories that about him and Kobe, like, holy Moses. Like they were like awful people behind the scenes.
And
Like,
look,
awful.
My favorite. Speaking of Kobe, my favorite Kobe story was the one that Shaq told at his memorial service, where he was mad about what he said he was mad about
I remember.
I think he was mad about I think it was like Rick Fox or somebody like that. Like he didn't want to pass on the ball or whatnot. And then I guess the coach went to Shaq and it was like, Shaq, you need to get on Kobe. You need to tell him, there's no I in team. And then Shaq went in over there and told Kobe that. And Kobe's like, yeah, I know there's no I in team, but there's an ME in that mother.
Yep. It's like that. That's like when Jordan said there's an I in win. And that he said that to Phil Jackson. It's just, yeah. Like, dude, I mean, like I said, I mean, look what Kobe did to Powell in the Olympic game.
Oh yeah. Remember how Jordan and Pippen and the Olympic team back then? Remember what they did to Tony Kukoc?
Oh yeah.
They tried to guard him on the bench. They
borderline S8'd him on the court.
Kobe said first play, I'm about to run through his chest. I mean, this is boy. This is brother. This is boy.
Yeah.
I'm going to run through his chest first play.
The godfather of his kid.
Put him on his butt first play to set the tone for what it was going to be.
Yeah, no, they didn't think he was going to do it either. They was like, yeah, right, whatever. And then first game, only thing you heard in the crowd was, ooh.
Yeah. But I understand Champ's point as far as Tim Tebow being a baby face. I understand his point. But I also understand the standpoint of people would say tweener because jealousy and envy, how he's gotten more attention and how he's gotten more opportunities than people who do not have the platform as he does. I think Tim Tebow's
polarizing figures.
Oh,
that's why I say tweener with Tim Tebow.
Tell me that miracle Tebow run in that year in Denver when he was a starting quarterback
that was beautiful. He took over a 1-4 team and got them to the playoffs and then culminated the season by throwing the game-winning pass to Demaryius Thomas.
It was one of the most fascinating things to watch because he would be a borderline 3-year-old throwing a football for 3.5 quarters. No joke. And that's not even an exaggeration. Like my 7-year-old daughter can throw a football better than he could, which is just weird because at Florida, it's not like he was that terrible. But anyways, but then all of a sudden, dude would turn into Joe Montana in the last 5 minutes. It was so baffling and fascinating to watch because there were people that were atheists that ended up believing in God. Watching him playing football. I'm not joking.
I know. Flash, do you remember Saturday Night Live when they did this the Tim Tebow skit? And my favorite quote was, "The Holy Bible is my playbook."
Yeah, and then when Jesus comes in the locker room, he goes, "Who are you guys playing next week?" And he goes, "Well, the Patriots." He goes, "Oh, I can't help you there." He's like, that Tom Brady, that's Jesus' nephew. He goes, but that Belichick, like this, oh my God. If they've ever done.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Legit believed in God watching that dude play football. Like they changed their faith because you watch somebody go from literally, again, it looked like a toddler out there trying to play football to literally it looked like God was on his side to win football games. It was one of the most fascinating sports times ever. It was so fascinating, so cool to watch.
Let's stay in the basketball side, but let's get it into the WNBA. Now, everybody knows the WNBA draft is coming up this Monday. Shout out to the women of the WNBA. And everybody knows that the shoe-in number 1 overall pick is Paige Beckers. She's going to the Dallas Wings. Now, the first game that she faces off against Caitlin Clark will be June the 27th. Will that game break more ratings records than her and Angel Reese? Well, they peaked at 3 million.
It wouldn't shock me at all if it did. And that's from the standpoint of people talk about Caitlin Clark and how talented she is. I sincerely think Paige Beckers is on her level of talent. She's on her level of talent. Paige Beckers is that good. She was Caitlin Clark before Caitlin Clark before she had the knee injury. And I still think she's on that level of talent. I think Paige Beckers is just that good. So it would not shock me at all if they set like ratings records for that game because she is immensely as talented as Caitlin Clark, and that's saying something. But I mean, look at her run in the NCAA tournament, leading UConn to that national championship. The game she was putting up in that tournament was like she was like the best player in the tournament from like second round on. She was the best player in the tournament. So like this is definitely one of those. This is definitely going to be one of them marquee games. And it wouldn't shock me at all if it set ratings records because of the talent that Paige Beckers is coming in with to go up against somebody like Caitlin Clark. It wouldn't shock me at all.
No, I think so too. I think. Look, I mean no disrespect to Angel Reese, but Angel Reese is nowhere near a Paige Beckers. Like it's not even close. I don't, but so when you throw a ratings, talk about a polarizing figure on top of talent in Caitlin Clark, and then you throw in Paige Beckers, who's the new #1 overall pick, and the attention that the WNBA got already last year, dude. It sells, and I'm going to be harping on this. I've been harping on this since we started the pod. You better WNBA. As soon as she's drafted, you better be marketing the shit out of that matchup. Like,
you better promote it like a boxing match.
Yes. Yes. You need to be promoting that on a level. Like I need the league to come close to turning a profit next year. That should be their goal. You need to at least come close because they lose 20 million or 40 million last year?
40 mil.
40 mil. You should be at least able to cut that in half this year.
PSP.
This should definitely sell. Again, for the reasons as Flash mentioned, again, I think it's going to be more exciting because of what Paige Beckers can do as far as her shot creation and her shooting. And I think that would be more exciting to go toe to toe. By the way, don't Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers play the same position at point guard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that makes it even more exciting to see them. Yeah, head to head. That's what make it even more exciting to watch. It's kind of like the WNBA needs to promote it kind of like a boxing match.
Yep.
Kind of like how you would want to see a Mike Tyson match, a Mike Tyson Evander Holyfield match, or a George Foreman Ali type of match. You gotta promote it to that type of way, and it hurts. It's gonna hurt the NBA. It's definitely gonna hurt the NBA because now with the WNBA getting this type of attention, and plus, champ, the what was the competition, the league that Angel Reese was in?
Unrivaled.
Do you know how much money they made? And that was a hell of a lot of money.
$27 million.
So imagine what you can do with a Paige Beckers and a Caitlin Clark.
Yep.
Feed families for generations. Look, I think they can make. Now remember that Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark game, the first game in the Chicago Sky. In each games they played against each other this year, each of those games peaked at 3 million, the highest ratings in WNBA history. So I think that definitely has the potential. And look, unlike with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, the WNBA has an advantage with Paige Beckers and Caitlin. They're both a part of the same shoe company.
Nike.
Yeah, they're both a part of Nike. They're both a part of the same shoe company.
That's the
So
thing that I was crying about last year. But
yeah, that's the thing you was crying about last year. But the thing is, what's going on, Brandon? Shout out to Brandon from the block every Monday.
What's
Brandon.
up, man?
No. But the thing is, it's just like they didn't market her correctly. It seems like the reason why Angel Reese, I don't know who her agent is, but it seems like Angel Reese came in and got everything. I mean, the shoe deal, the McDonald's meal. I mean, everything you can
Reese's
think of.
Puffs.
Yeah, Reese's Puff. I mean, she was even an ambassador for Call of Duty. Remember, one of the guys from John Wick was in a commercial with her doing the Call of Duty campaign commercials. So it's like she ate up a lot of that publicity. But the thing is, the WNBA didn't do a good job of pitting them against each other. Now, like I said, part of that was probably due to them being part of different companies because remember, Angel Reese is with Reebok, Caitlin Clark is with Nike.
Yeah.
But now you have two of the same competitors from the same company in there. I mean, and not to mention, look, and I'm going to just say this. Don't think that Dallas is going to be sorry this year.
Oh.
You have Agumbawale, who was the All-Star Game MVP last year. And you have Dejanay Carrington, who just came in. So, yes, thanks, PSP. And you have Dejanay Carrington. So that's your scoring right there. Because remember, Agumbawale won the All-Star Game MVP last year, and Dejanay Carrington was the most improved player of the year last year. So there's your scoring along with Paige Beckers, who they call her Paige Buckets for a reason. So this team, I wish they could have kept Sabrina, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. I think she ended up going to Phoenix. But I really think that this game has the potential to break records and ratings records. And I think that the WNBA needs to do a hell of a job of advertising it. Because who doesn't?
Considering the fact, I'm sorry, Champ, go ahead.
Especially when you think about you're in the collective bargaining agreement. This is a make or break year. All the players have opted out already, which to my better judgment, I don't think they should have opted out.
No.
But the thing is, this is a make or break year. Like you need to be advertising. You need to be putting them every time we look up leading up to that June 17th game. We need to do that. And the thing is, the funniest part about that, the first exhibition game we need to be hearing about is Paige Beckers versus Asia Wilson.
The only thing that I think might be a drawback where it might not break records of the first initial one between Paige and Caitlin is the part of the reason why the Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark thing happened was because of the publicity from the last 2 years in college basketball. And everybody wanted to see the pro rematch. So it really did feel like Bird Magic, where this is a little different because it just let the last
LeBron, Kobe.
Didn't think about that. Yeah.
I mean, they're under the same. They're with Nike. They're both. Caitlin's the number one overall pick, and she had a great rookie season. Matter of fact, not just rookie season, she was in the convo for MVP at one point. So with Paige Beckers coming in, and which the game is June 27th, and plus you have as much time to market it because the day before that it's the NBA draft. So there should be no interferences, nothing to prevent you from promoting it.
And you should have, if there's any type of representation at the NBA draft, you should have Paige Beckers representing the Dallas, even though the Dallas Mavericks, we just talked about but she should be representing the Dallas Mavericks or Dallas in general, and Caitlin should be representing Indiana. That's what I would do. I would have them front and center on that. I just don't know. Here's the thing: as much as guys like us know about Paige Beckers, does the casual fan that tuned in to Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese last year, is that part of it, the equation, going to tune into Paige Beckers versus Caitlin Clark? That's the only thing that I'm just, because Caitlin
In
Clark,
terms of off the court, yeah.
yeah, like, well, the Angel Reese Caitlin Clark thing was an event. It was where people were like, "What's this? I gotta sit down and see this. What is this thing? What's the hype about?" Where Paige and Caitlin, there's no build up. Yes, there's no emotion built in, and I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna throw it out there. You also, because of the history in college basketball, and we talked about the narrative around the Angel Reese Caitlin Clark. You with the way our climate is when it comes to social politics, you throw in the race thing when it comes to Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. That just amped it up even more. So, and
Not to mention Angel Reese doing the John Cena "You Can't See Me" signature.
yes,
That is
Sonny
Tony
Caitlin
Yayo.
Clark. You had a memeable moment. You had
That is Tony Yayo.
yeah. So you had so many different factors making that a must see event, because everybody on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it wanted to see that event so they could go on Twitter when all it, see, I told you Caitlin Clark sucks, or see, I told you Angel Reese sucks. Like, so you just, where this won't have that aspect. So I don't, that's the one where I go, it might not really draw as many ratings as we might think. That's the only thing.
Only way it possibly could, though, is media saying controversial things, and maybe that could be a reason for them to get them to watch the game. You never know.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just be real. Just being real, you don't have to create the controversy for this one. It's skill versus skill, because everybody who's anybody is saying that Paige was Caitlin Clark before she got hurt. And many will argue, and many I've seen. Look, I'm in the WNBA. I'm covering it every single day. I done already started, and people are already saying, when I was putting up certain videos, depending on which side you were on, if it wasn't for Paige getting injured, would we really have been talking about Caitlin that way? Now, if you're thinking that way, you're kind of biased, if you really want me to be honest with you, because Caitlin had the talent, but there's already people saying that. And it has the potential to be like, although let's say Jordan and Bird didn't have a lot of playoff history, you were still excited to see them go head to head in the first round of the playoffs, or when they played each other.
Yeah. All right. See, I don't think that's controversial. I think that's just sports controversial. Like, when I bring up the Twitter or X thing, that was a social political aspect to that rivalry.
But the thing is, with Jordan and Bird, you didn't need it. With Jordan versus Bird in the playoffs, you didn't need it. With Magic versus Bird, all of those factors that you're saying factored into that. But you saw Jordan versus Bird. It's just like, okay, I got to see what this exciting new player is going to do against this 3-time league MVP, who I know is going to the finals this year.
You're right, but we were already 6-7 years into the Bird Magic thing, where like they've elevated the NBA. Like, we're not there yet with the WNBA. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, let's say,
and plus they lost $40 million.
Yeah, plus they're still in the hole as a league. If this is like 6 years down the road and Caitlin Clark is a 3-time MVP and a 2-time champ or something like that, and we have somebody like Paige Beckers coming in, I think then and the league is a profitable league, even if it's like they make $5 million. Like, I just want them to make a profit. To me, that anything controversial would have to still stem to the social political aspect of it. Like,
I have a hot take.
Pipe bomb.
I'm afraid that the person that may try to make it entertaining, I can't believe I'm saying this, one Jason Whitlock.
All right, I'm gonna make a controversial opinion on how. Well, I don't think it would be him. I think he would. I think he would play a part in it, but I don't think he would start the conversation. If you're going to say something controversial about this, the constant thing with the Caitlin Clark thing is she's only getting attention because she's white. So if somebody was going to throw out a hot take, it would be, why are these two white women getting attention and so much attention when we have blah 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 blah, which would be
Champ, I know how you feel about Jason Whitlock. Believe me, I feel the exact way as you do. Just look at your body, just look at your face. But again, if Whitlock, he may say something that may try to get fans to actually pay attention to this. I wouldn't trust him the same way I wouldn't trust Eric Bischoff. But hey,
Like I said, in this particular place, I don't think you need that controversy for two great players. Like I said, Caitlin Clark, even Cheryl Swoops has acknowledged that the Indiana Fever is a huge draw. They have 41 games that's on national television.
Yes.
They already have 7 games already that have been moved to bigger venues.
Yes.
7, including the Dallas Wings game that will occur on that day. So you don't need the controversy that you needed with Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark. And that was organic. And like I said, who doesn't want to see the back-to-back number 1 overall picks go at it on teams that, guess what, that can make the Indiana Fever already in championship contention during the off-season Super Bowl. The off-season finals. They got DeWanna Bonner. They re-signed Kelsey Mitchell. Aaliyah Boston was that deal already. And they got some depth at the backcourt. And like I said, even Cheryl Swoops herself has acknowledged this as well. And as we all know, there was a lot of controversy with her and Caitlin Clark and some of the things that she was saying. But when she acknowledges that, hey, they have a chance in order to win a title, how Caitlin Clark has improved over the offseason and things of that nature, and then you have this up-and-coming player who people are saying, well, this was you before you got hurt. Guess what? The controversy doesn't have to be there. People are going to
will it resonate? But will it resonate, champ, to casuals? Sure, if it were people like us who know sports, yeah, it resonates. But will it resonate to casuals that would actually take their time to come and watch the game?
That's my
yeah. She came from UConn. She came from UConn, one of the biggest powerhouses in women's basketball.
But dude, like the Caitlin Clark thing and the Caitlin Angel Reese thing, like, and I'm on Twitter, and there are people that are not. There were people on that were strictly part of the social political argument on Twitter that were paying attention to this game, that game. So that's where I'm saying the casual fan that normally wouldn't tune into a WNBA game does I hope you're right, champ.
I hope so too.
I hope so too. I'm not saying that I'm hoping for what I'm saying. I hope you're right where people tune in because they're like, well, this dude's Paige is just as talented as Caitlin Clark. I need to see this head-to-head matchup. The WNBA honestly right now is based. Their ratings are based on Caitlin Clark and then the social political climate behind that. Right now.
Yeah, and to your point, yes, it is, because whenever I even say anything about a potential matchup between her and Asia Wilson, they will bring up something political. I'm like, Asia Wilson never said that. What the hell are you talking about?
Yep. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No. I was done. Go ahead. I apologize.
When has Asia Wilson ever said anything political or social? I've never heard her.
That's the thing. To Flash's point, that's what they will say just to try to say something about it. It's just like, I never forget, I brought up Asia Wilson's shoes. Why is Caitlin Clark not getting that? She's just getting that because she's black. I'm like, dude, you do realize Caitlin Clark's shoe is next in line, don't you?
Not to mention her jersey sell out at Dick's Sporting Goods. They even have an official basketball for her, as well as other things to take into consideration.
And that's my point, is that's the casual that gets involved in all the social political stuff is the one that like that's what's, besides Caitlyn, that's what's driving the ratings. And again, they are a product of the NBA, and right, and we just talked about how the NBA is basically drama driven, and unfortunately, I hope so. I want to see it again. This is the thing that I wanted to bring up when we were talking about, how the NBA is drama ridden. This is why I get so upset about like politics being drawn into sports, or stuff like, Taylor Swift. I'm just like, I just want to tune into a football game or a baseball game or a basketball game. I don't care about all that. I mean, I do care about that stuff, but like I go to watch that because I don't want the other stuff. So,
But unfortunately, that's those days of it's just stick to sports. That's done.
It's done.
And people are going to pay more attention to political or social things, which is why, champ. And again, you know how I feel about Jason Whitlock. I think Jason Whitlock is a piece of shit. Let me just say that for the record. But I do believe if he says something outrageous or controversial, he, along with other controversial sports figures, it's going to convey or entice casuals to actually come watch this for political or social reasons as opposed to the game. Should they watch it based on the game and game itself? Yes, but we all know that's not going to happen.
No,
What's so funny about
the whole. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, champ. I apologize.
Oh no, don't worry about it. What's so funny about Caitlin Clark is this: before that Angel Reese game, and I'm surprised that people don't understand. Before the reason why Caitlin Clark's name got out there in the first place is because she stopped South Carolina from being undefeated that year.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what's so funny about that. It's because she stopped the unstoppable South Carolina Gamecocks.
Kind of like how Paige Beckers and UConn stopped South Carolina from repeating.
Exactly. So you have two people that stopped South Carolina from winning their national championship.
That's your marketing ploy.
That's your marketing ploy.
Well, one of
it,
yeah.
You got two people that stopped them right in their tracks. And that's the thing. Before Angel Reese came into the pictures, we was like, who's this young lady who stopped the mighty South Carolina game? Because we just knew that South Carolina was going to win that year because they was just murking people. So when Caitlin has that huge game against South Carolina, everybody like, who is that? And then the Angel Reese situation, then the Angel Reese factor came in soon after that. Now, granted, LSU was stacked already, and they was a championship contender. But when that happened right there, that changed everything. But people are got to understand that everybody knew Caitlin from the South Carolina game first. Then the Angel Reese game came second. And like I said, it's easy to market without being villainy. Like I said, you could compare it to Jordan versus Bird for the first time ever in the playoffs, or Jordan versus Bird the first time in the regular season. This is the best player. Remember, you don't have to do a lot to sell it because guess what? Caitlin's already an MVP candidate coming into this year. I don't think the Aces are the same as they were last year, although they made that big trade for Jewel Lloyd in order to try to replace Kelsey Plum and some of the key players that they lost there. Plus, Diana Taurasi's gone. Brittany Griner, she's in Atlanta. So it's wide open. But like I said, you don't have to do a lot of marketing and a lot of political marketing for Paige versus Caitlin Clark. It will sell, and the names alone will sell itself. Because the thing is, outside of her being a great superstar at UConn, the three people who we saw the most on social media this offseason was Angel Reese, Flajay Johnson, and Paige Beckers. We saw those three all over the place all summer long, even during the season. So you can play a ploy off that alone. The person who really is not on social media, because really we didn't see a lot of Caitlin Clark during the offseason. We didn't really see much of her. We saw
She
her like
doesn't.
what?
She doesn't really use that much on social media. She mostly does a lot of charity. Even in her off time, she plays a lot of golf.
Yeah,
Angel Reese, but here's the thing: but Champ, here's the thing that where I disagree with you. With Angel Reese, good or bad, casuals want to see her because Angel Reese is enticing. Angel Reese I mean, off the court. You know what she does, going on tours, as you mentioned, her podcast that she does, the endorsements that she has, and everything else along the way. Now she's even improved her game by working with the great Lisa Leslie. So, and with Paige and Caitlyn, I understand it sells for us because, again, based on their skill, what they were able to do to prevent South Carolina from doing, and and back to back number one overall picks. But here's the thing: outside fans, casuals won't look at that. They're always looking for something controversial or something to elevate it. And until that happens, until we get to a point where we can just focus on the game and game itself, unfortunately, people are going to pay more attention to outside.
Well, and to your point about Angel Reese, it's people like to see her fail too. Like one of the
Yeah,
most
people do want to see her struggle. People do want to see her cry. Remember last year when she lost in the tournament? Remember how she made the statement, I've received death threats, I've been over sexualized and stuff like that. People paid a lot of attention to that type of stuff, particularly like CNN and other networks.
and the other part of it too is that like I mean you just go to like one of the most popular like sports TikTok channels is that one dude that you know plays the Angel Reese highlights and keeps screaming in the background, which is it's hilarious. But that's the thing. It's like people want to see her fail, and she's also said some controversial things. Whether I mean, like when she came out and was like, not everybody watches it because of Caitlyn. They watch because of me too, and people need to see that. And it just she's
Do you
at
or remember the statement that she said about holding out the league? About
yeah
the players not getting their money.
yeah, and people ridiculed her for that too. So she opens her mouth and people but see she's more to me she's more of a social media eyeball person than a game ratings person. Caitlyn's the game ratings person. Angel Reese is the social media clip eyeball person because she says stuff that honestly is stupid sometimes. I mean, like when she said like, "Oh, we're just going to hold out," like that's just stupid. Like you guys aren't there yet. You guys are thinking like again. I'm not arguing that they shouldn't be making more money at some point, but they're just not there yet. Like to just sit there and be like to like Champ's point, probably shouldn't have opted out this year. Like probably should have waited a little bit and got a little bit more leverage in your pocket because there's no leverage right now. Because honestly, what do you literally are going to have to leverage the NBA to pay whatever it is you guys are going to try to negotiate. You're not going to have the WNBA play it because they literally can't pay the bills in general. So I will say this: the WNBA has the pieces in place to have eyeballs all over, not just game wise, but social media wise too. They do, and so let's see if they can capitalize that, and I hope they do.
But
yeah,
I understand your point, Champ. I do think, considering how generational talents Paige and Caitlyn are, how much controversy do you really need it? I mean, I understand your point, Champ, but and you make a very strong point, valid point, because of their game, their skill, what they're able to do in the college level, things of that nature. Outside of people like us who watch or study basketball, most people don't pay attention to that, and it's unfortunate because we should reach to a point where we should pay more attention to the game and game itself, but people don't really apparently care about that nowadays. People just care about other things,
I
and
I,
that's
I
sad to say.
I think if we see if like what that game needs let's say the ratings don't quite hit as much as we want it to. If that's like a legendary type game where those two go off, and
Or
then
controversy during that game. You remember how Caitlin Clark, how she got elbowed by Kennedy Carter champ? Remember that? Remember
Oh
how
my
we were talking
God,
about
that
that?
was the man. I broadcast that game. That was the most man. I have never gotten so many hits on a video because I never forget. I
Draymond
never
Green
forget,
even said she needed an
he needed,
enforcer.
yeah, I remember I was saying that. I said they need to get Caitlin Clark and enforce her or something because this is getting out of hand. And
yeah,
I
By the
never
way,
forget.
Draymond should pay you.
And I never forget. People bringing back Elizabeth Cambridge. You know, people saying go get Elizabeth Cambridge and see if she could be an enforcer because you know Elizabeth Cambridge was always with the crazy stuff when she was playing in the WNBA.
I and the thing is I they you know champ, you were talking about Bird and Jordan. You know, everybody remembers the Jordan 63-point game
Yeah,
against the 86 Celtics in the playoffs.
In which
They
he said he's God.
Yeah, like you need a moment like that
yeah,
when it comes to pure basketball. That's what we need. They need. There hasn't been a like basketball moment yet that the WNBA can like. You know, there's not the like they don't have the Magic Johnson baby hook. They don't have the Jordan 63-point game yet. They don't have like there's not a sports moment that the public can grab onto.
Or hell, even the tragic Johnson moment.
Yeah, like just something. There's not that yet. Like that's what they need. They need a sports moment. They need a classic. And I think it's going to be something where like you see Caitlin Clark in the finals, and then versus maybe Asia Wilson or whoever, and you see, and there's just a massive sports moment. That's what's gonna catapult the league in just a pure sports aspect. When they have their moment that way, then we'll see what we want to see.
I think it has to have an unforgettable moment that has to transcend the
Yes.
game. Like Evander Holyfield, 5-time heavyweight champion. But people don't pay attention to that. People pay attention to the fact that he got his ear bitten by Mike Tyson. People have forgotten how great of a boxer the Evander Holyfield was, the real deal. They don't pay attention to how great he was as a boxer. They don't pay attention to how great he was, his accomplishments. They look at the fact he got his ear bitten off twice by Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
hey, those are some valid points, and I'm glad you. Anything you want to add, BRF?
You're on mute, dude. Oh.
Okay, yeah. Honestly, no. I mean, honestly, there's really nothing I really want to add. I mean, you know, y'all pretty much hit everything. Y'all pretty much hit everything on the head there. So no, I'll say this though. I don't know. I do kind of hear what you're saying as far as like the casual fan and like will a Paige Becker's Caitlin Clark matchup draw the casuals the way Caitlin Clark Angel Reese did. Um, I do agree with y'all, but I will say this though. I hope as the WNBA draft rolls around and that hype for Paige Becker's really gets loud, and they start hearing she's just as good as Caitlin Clark, like already right now coming out of school. I hope it draws a lot of those fans to like look her up, like YouTube stuff like that, Google her highlights and stuff like that, and see what everybody's talking about, and you know just to kind of bring more of that attention. But I mean, like I said, we can only hope.
We can only hope. And I'm so
You know what?
happy
Also,
that
what Jim? One last thing. You know who could also help as far as with Paige Beckers, as far as promoting the guy who you call the goat of college basketball.
Gino, Coach Gino.
If Gino could make a statement or something in a way, maybe it could help. Who knows?
Who knows?
or LeBron or any prominent NBA player. If a Steph Curry, a LeBron James, or somebody like that is making a statement and saying, "Hey, you need to go watch this game," and
I,
I will pay, and I will come to the game and watch it myself.
you know what I do? I literally the for that and for that game, that first game between Paige and Caitlin, I have the NBA show, the crew from
Yeah,
TNT.
yeah, the NBA countdown.
I have
Yeah,
Barkley,
Malika
Shaq.
Andrew. Yeah,
Yep, I literally have them do the pregame. That's
Yeah.
that's what you do. You do stuff like that. You want the basketball aspect, but then to pull in because people that are casual basketball fans watch the NBA on TNT show, like the or as even the clips, because it's the greatest, in my opinion, probably the greatest pregame show ever.
Yeah.
and who wouldn't love to see Chuck and Shaq go at it?
That's what I'm saying. You just go and then to hype that game up in general. That's what I would do.
And plus, it would get people like us, like if Charles Barkley or Shaq, because you know Shaq sometimes will make an irresponsible or ridiculous statement. Can you imagine how it could help us as content creators to get us to talk about that, plus increase our views as well? And then, I mean, Cheb, you tell me all the time, people have been taking our content and watching our content.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes, indeed. But I'm glad that someone, mainly Flash, brought up that Indiana Fever going to the finals type of thing. Um, what team do you think would draw the most ratings with them in the finals? Would it be Asia Wilson, or would it be, let's say, a team like hmm, would it be like a rematch? Would it be like Indiana versus New York? You know,
Yeah,
Indiana versus New York.
yeah,
I still think the ratings hit is Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark. That's what you would want. If I'm the WNBA and you want all the casual people and you want that's what it is.
Problem with that is I don't know. Although they got Ariel in the I just can't. I always call her Ariel. I just can't help it. Although they went and got Ariel, who was an all-star, I don't think that the Chicago Sky have enough firepower on the wings in order to help with that. And you saw that once, not only maybe not just because Kennedy Carter was getting shut down, but after Mabry got traded to the Connecticut Sun, they didn't have enough firepower because you notice Chicago Sky, they was doing pretty good the first half of the season, especially with Mabry was there. But when she got traded during the All-Star break, you started seeing a lack of scoring in there, and they just had to. And outside of Kennedy Carter and Angel Reese, they didn't have a lot of scoring because Cardoza, she was mainly used as a rebounding. So
no, and I'm just saying on a pure ratings basis, like
yeah.
that would be the biggest ratings hit for the WNBA.
If Kelsey Plum would have went to the Chicago Sky, I would have said, okay, we have a chance. And they would have had her and Ariel. That would have been a whole nother ball game. But unfortunately, I don't think the Chicago Sky have enough. Unless Flage comes out and ends up going to Chicago. So, because she said she had a major announcement that's going to go on for the next couple days. So, I mean, I wonder if that leads you to wonder if Flage is going to come out, because who doesn't want to see Flage and Angel Reese on the same team again? So, which
I think you have to put I think you have to put the bigger, like the New York Liberty, LA Sparks. You'd have to put them in the conversation if they were to make a run as far as like a rating draw. Because I mean, it's like no matter the sport, a New
You got
York or an
Brianna
LA
and
team.
Sabrina.
Oh my gosh, an Indiana New York Liberty finals matchup. I mean, I feel like it's like no matter what the sport is, a New York team or an LA team is always going to find a way to draw like some type of ratings. I think Caitlin Clark versus Sabrina Ionescu and Breanna Stewart. Like I think that would be a pretty good. I think that'd be a pretty good draw when you consider they're the defending WNBA champions. When you consider Sabrina Ionescu had that ridiculous showing in the 3-point contest against Steph Curry of all people, I think it would definitely, and people would remember her from that. I think that would be a pretty good draw too.
They should, and All Stars should probably do that moving forward.
Hey, and I'm glad that Flash brought up the collective bargaining agreement, because you got to ask yourself this. This is a question I've been asking myself all off season with as far as the WNBA is concerned. Can the Indiana Fever going to the WNBA finals help with the collective bargaining agreement?
Yeah. I mean, but the other thing, yes, but they have to make more money than they did last year. Like there has to be, you have to, you got to at least cut that deficit in half, if not more, to have a good argument. Because then at least you can go to the table with, we are ascending. If you're still 40 million in the hole, like, again, this is where I talk about that this league needs a basketball moment. We need a finals where game 1 and game 2, like the ratings are kind of meh, but they're epic games, and then the buzz starts happening, and then everybody. It's kind of like, not everybody watched Game of Thrones when it first aired. But after like 3 seasons, everybody started, like, then the chatter starts, and then you go to work or something, like, and you hear 2 people like, dude, did you hear that? Did you watch that episode of Game of Thrones last night? And they go, Game of Thrones, and then it just starts, and then you see everybody just, they need the basketball moment, and that's what I want to happen this year. But yes, it will help if they go to the finals, and the finals are a good finals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then very much so.
BRF.
I don't think it would really matter who make the finals. They got to make money. They got to, like Flash said, I don't think it really matters who make the finals. They just got to turn a profit. They won't have no argument. They wouldn't have no argument to bring to the table if they're not doing something positive from a profit and from a profiting standpoint with the league this year. I guess they could help, but I mean, if they're not profiting as far as like tickets, merchandise sales, and all that stuff, if there's no good revenue coming in, it's not going to matter who makes the finals.
No.
PSP.
Definitely, I think the Indiana Fever could definitely help, especially with a generational talent like Caitlin, because if they win, and the fact that Caitlin Clark can say that I am a champion, I am a winner, that would even elevate it even more. But I think she needs to have like an historic season with her winning the MVP, championship, and finals MVP. If she can do something like that, which she's very capable of, I think that would intensify it. Plus, you even talked about a champ with the NBA. With the WNBA, you know how they should do it? Like with Derrick Rose. Remember how Derrick Rose won the MVP the 3rd year, becoming the youngest ever to win the MVP?
Mm-hmm.
If Caitlin Clark can do something like that, win the MVP, that at her age in the 2nd year, maybe they can do the CBA, the Caitlin Clark rule for the WNBA. By even like adding a new rule and saying, hey, if you do this, if you make an all-star first team all-NBA in your 1st or 2nd year or win the league MVP, guess what? It increases the CBA, it increases your opportunity to make money, to have a big fat contract.
Good points, guys. Here's the thing. I think that Caitlin definitely has a case to win MVP this year. So that's going to automatically draw up the ratings. And not only that, all of their games are televised this year. The Indiana Fevers are. Not to mention their first game is against the Chicago Sky. They played the Chicago Sky like 5 times this year. So that's going to play a factor. I think if the Indiana Fever make the finals, especially if you have a New York or LA team, like if it's Breanna Stewart versus Caitlin Clark in the finals, I think that's going to automatically boost ratings. You have the New York factor, and you have all the Caitlin Clark stands and fans that want to see her win. And they're going to be glued to the television. And I think that finals alone, much like the first Bird versus Magic finals, is going to be what catapults it. And they were going to be able to say, hey, this is what we have. We made a profit. Plus, the WNBA finals is going to 7 games this year. Because remember how close it was last year. Everybody was kind of like begging for more. So I think that her not only getting to the finals, but winning the MVP as well, that's going to be damn hard considering that Asia Wilson's still in the league. But I love her shoes, by the way. Asia Wilson's shoes. I got to get me there. But
the only reason why I'm laughing, Chip, because you mentioned Stu. I'm actually watching Family Guy right now of Stewie beating the shit out of Brian.
yeah, I think Stewie versus Breanna Stewart versus Caitlin Clark, there'll definitely be a ratings. And even if Asia Wilson and the Aces find a way to get it back to the finals, I think that will be a narrative within itself. Because the thing is, you have a potential dynasty versus this great up-and-coming player. So I think that if the Fever make the finals, they will definitely turn a profit if that happens. And you will definitely see a lot more money coming into the WNBA if they're able to make the finals. And quite frankly, they should have no trouble. There's going to be some adversity, but they have every reason to make it because they just got DeWanna Bonner from the Connecticut Sun.
I couldn't find that on Apple Music.
That wasn't me. That
was my computer for some reason. Don't ask. I don't know why.
Stay off the hub. That wouldn't happen. What's
up?
I watch the hub on my computer. I go on my phone like everybody else does.
We know you be watching Gianna Michaels on the hub on your computer. Don't be trying to flex in front of the audience.
Naming names, bro.
I don't do that on my computer. That's not. I don't want viruses on my computer. I do that on my phone.
Every time that conversation come up, Champ got to dig in the bag and pulls out specific names.
And
like,
honestly, not Gianna Michaels. Give me some like old school Lexi Bell, and
I'll tell you one thing: if Champ had time with Joy Taylor or Samantha Irvin, we all know what he would have done.
Samantha Irvin. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Hey, man, look here. I don't care what anybody say, man. Gianna Michael definitely deserves to be in top 5 conversations, but we'll say that conversation for another day.
Champ, if you know, you know. I'm kind of with you on that. If you know, you know.
Gianna Michaels definitely deserves to be in top 5 conversations. But
if you know, you know.
I was lucky to meet Lexi Bell, so that made me a happy man.
You met Lexi Bell?
I did.
Wow.
And I met Lexi Bell, and I met Tegan Presley.
That is lovely. That makes me smile inside.
Actually, the Tegan Presley story is an interesting story that I will tell off air.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That warms my little heart right there. I salute you.
I don't deserve that type of salute. Neither of those things happen as much as I wish they would have.
But it is what it is. Hey, salute. So hey man.
Oh Lord.
Hey man, hey man, look, I'll be on the dark side of TikTok sometimes, and Sarah J was trending yesterday, so when that comes up, everybody want to talk about top 5 conversations. So hey. But moving on.
I've been a terrible influence on Champ. He used to be such a good boy. And then he met me.
Boy, flash. No. No. I'll give you credit for intensifying it, but we ain't gonna go there.
I just thought it's so cute for the years that I've known Champ. Like, I'm going to be all politically correct, and then he met, and then he's like, I'm going to do a show with Flash, and then there goes that.
Let's hear y'all hanging out with Violet Maya. Hey man, I'm not objecting to that, Mr. Watson. I'm just saying.
John.
Close the door. Close the doors. Okay.
Close the door.
Road to WrestleMania, man. What matchup y'all looking forward to the most, man? Real quick.
Ooh. Match I'm looking forward to the most. That Intercontinental Championship Fatal 4-Way is kind of starting to intrigue me more and more now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. I mean, something stupid is going to happen with them being the main event of night one. You know, something crazy about to go down. So I'm definitely waiting for that. Yeah, I think I'll say like as far as like intriguing match that ain't really getting a lot of talk yet, but definitely has like show stealing potential is definitely for me the Intercontinental title Fatal 4-Way. Braun, Penta, Finn, and Dom. That's got a shot to tell some pretty interesting stories and have some really good wrestling. That match, out of all the obvious choices, if you take out the obvious choices, that's the one match for me that's really like intriguing, is really catching me. Like they really about to do something. Probably either that or Jade and Naomi.
Okay. Flash.
Just to go at a different angle, I am really curious and I'm intrigued about Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton now. I don't know if this is all a work or whatever, but I'm at the point now where I think you have to capitalize on the heat that Charlotte's getting and have her go over at WrestleMania. To the heat that she would get at this point would be astronomical. And I think the match could be fantastic too. So if there's any match that I'm kind of just intrigued, because it could be if none of this is a work, it could be a complete disaster as well. It's like, ooh, is this train wreck going to happen? I also think Logan Paul versus AJ Styles could steal the show. Logan Paul, for however you feel about him in general, his matches are always stellar. They are. Like, they're always stellar. They're great to watch. He is made for wrestling as a heel. He's a brilliant heel. He has built-in heat because he is Logan Paul. So, and putting him in there with one of the most athletic wrestlers of all time and one of the best wrestlers of all time, in AJ Styles, that match has a lot of possibilities. So those are the two that I'm intrigued about.
PSP.
For me, of course, it's Cena versus Cody Rhodes. Only reason why I'm excited about it because, again, just like the guy I have on my avatar, I just want to see Stone Cold raise some hell. Will it be as exciting as last year's WrestleMania only because it's Vegas? No, I don't think it'll be as exciting. But I do believe if you hear that glass break, if there's one thing that can excite or energize WrestleMania, it's Austin. And of course, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, because I'm wondering what type of magic work is Paul Heyman going to do during WrestleMania? Which side is he going to be with?
I look. I threw this out there a couple weeks ago. I think if you're going to bring Brock Lesnar back at any point in time, this is the time to do it.
Didn't Brock say he retired?
Yeah, well,
It was on April 1st.
I'm sorry.
That and on top of it, like, he could just say that, like, that's it's like the line. It's like the thing with Alexa Bliss on I have the contract dispute. Right now that they are doing such a job such a good job at playing the, like, I wouldn't be shocked if the Kevin Owens injury is fake and it's a work. But I don't know right now because it seems like they're setting up Randy versus Solo for something.
Which I do not want. I do not want that at WrestleMania. I don't.
Dude, when I was watching SmackDown before the show tonight, and I was like, and I heard Solo's music, and I'm like, yay, Gloves is here. Woo.
Gloves. What the hell?
Gloves. Call Gloves. It's like what's her face? Intercontinental champion for the Lyra Valkyria. I just call her Feathers. Yeah. I just call her Feathers because I just go, like, you have no personality other than the fact that I know that you wear feathers. That's it. And Solo is like, hi, you wear gloves. Yay. I just, if that's where we have Randy Orton right now, then can we not have him do something else? Have him come out during the Cena match and screw over Cena or something. I don't care. Just don't have him in a match against Solo. That's terrible. It's why I hope that Kevin. I didn't get to watch all of SmackDown, but it's kind of why I hope the Kevin Owens injury is a work.
I don't think it. I don't think it is, just from the standpoint if the fact that they're pinpointing the match that really messed and jarred his neck up. I don't think it is, and I'm worried.
Yeah, maybe not. I hope it is a work because for his health and his.
Well, I saw a report. WWE officials have already said don't expect him for the rest of 2025 and possibly next year's WrestleMania.
Yeah, I saw that, like 12 to 16 months. That's what I saw. As for the Cena Rhodes match, boy, this could go a lot of ways. I think everybody feels like Cena's got to win the match, but I don't know.
There's an outlet for there's a lane for Cody to win this. There's a lane for Cody to win this.
If you like it's obvious Cody's the face of the company.
At this point, yes.
Yeah, I don't even think it's I don't even think it's a question at this point. He's the new Cena that they're going to have at the top between him and Roman, essentially. But right now he's the baby face of the company. He's the top baby face. He's the new Cena. So it's like, what better way for Cena to pass the torch than to give that torch to Cody? Because the thing that I still think the storyline, as much as it is, even though he's turned heel now, is still chasing the title. So if you have him win, it kills the storyline. That's what the storyline's about, is essentially he is chasing the title, and by any means necessary, he is going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been better if he turned heel at WrestleMania than the Elimination Chamber.
I don't know if that was UBRF, right? A friend say that to me, and no, because then
it would have been more. It would have been much better than Austin turning heel at WrestleMania 17.
No, because now
Because to Champ's point, he talked about how kids were crying when Cena turned heel, how people were crying and shocked and stunned that Cena turned heel.
But
Imagine
then
if he had done it at Mania of the
I know,
biggest stage.
but then depending on the outcome that they want, then that takes away from the moment of whatever the outcome of the match is. So like,
Which is why I think Cena's gonna win at WrestleMania, and it's mainly the promos that he's cut talking about I'm gonna ruin wrestling and all this other stuff. Is like these promos just tell me he's really about to win this thing.
so then if you're booking this match, how do you have him win?
You still over. I think it's what we had talked about. Like I think no, I do I there's definitely going to be some shenanigans. I definitely think you still kind of overbooked the heck out of this. But I think it's what we talked about before. You have him win the old Super Cena, John Cena way after all the overbooking. You
Yep.
do the shoulder tackles, the 5 knuckle shuffle, and one, and I mean only one
Yep.
attitude adjustment.
Yep.
Don't have no like you have Cody hit him with like 2-3 crossroads, and Cena kicks out. Cena hits him with one AA and beats him.
And it's over.
That's not the attitude adjuster. It's the FU.
You're right. Sorry, champ. You're right. It's the FU. I 100, 1,000. Well, we talked about it last week or the week before about that. That if I'm booking it again, you turned him heel, and every smart mark wanted new gear, new this, new that. And it was such a brilliant move to have. Like, nah, I'm still gonna be Cena, but I'm not gonna give you what you want. And every smart mark hates Super Cena. Hated. That's why they hated Cena originally. So now you have
him win that way.
All the kiddies hate him right now. So you don't got to worry about that. So now you just got to keep the smart marks hating him. And what better way to do that than book him like Super Cena? Have him take a beating, and Cody just gets it. Like I'd even have Cena kick out of a stunner. Like have Austin come out, like if The Rock comes there, and have them go at it a little bit, and Austin gets a stunner in, and everybody's all happy, and then Cody does a couple Cody cutters on him, and Cena kicks out, and then you're right, one FU, and it's over. And he hasn't even mounted a comeback. He just randomly does one, and bang, 1, 2, 3, clean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know what? That would add even more fire. He doesn't even do the comeback. He just hits the move.
No, just randomly. Cody's got him lined up for the 4th one or whatever, and Cena reverses it, put him on his shoulders, bang, 1, 2, 3, done. The crowd like riots. Oh my God! Like
you probably throw stuff in the ring.
Oh,
they probably would.
Oh, they would. I hope they do. I'm trying to think of an end of WrestleMania that was so hated. It probably was Austin turning heel.
Yeah, Austin turning heel.
No, without question. Because again, everyone gravitated to Austin because of his personality. It was real and authentic. And then, of course, JR, when he said it best, he sold his soul to Satan himself.
Yeah, but the selling the problem with the Austin turning heel thing, people didn't like it because it wasn't. It just didn't make sense. It didn't fit the character.
Only person who wanted to. Only reason why Austin wanted to turn heel is because of the creativity. I think he just got fed up with being a babyface and he wanted to be heel. I mean, when you're a heel, it's the best feeling because you don't give a fuck. You just want to be however you want your character to be presented and portrayed. And unfortunately, when Steve turned heel at that time, it hurt the business.
Yeah.
Well, he thought it. Well, he said it himself. At the time, he thought his character had turned stale, so he thought he was going to do it. But But the fan reaction to him in the Astrodome at WrestleMania 17, he knew he messed up.
Yep.
He knew he messed. It was yeah, like the character kind of was, but the fan reaction to him was like, yeah, I shouldn't have done this. We should have called an audible. I should have won it exactly like I wanted. He should have won it exactly like he did. But instead of like shaking Vince McMahon's hand or have him shake his hand first and stun him, I would have called an audible because it's obvious his character wasn't as stale as he thought it was.
No, but I mean, it just like Cena. Here's the thing, Austin, even though he was designed as a heel originally when he turned to Stone Cold Steve Austin, he never was really a heel. Like he was, but he wasn't. Cena's been a heel already, and people loved that heel aspect to him. Like there's a certain demographic that loved, thugonomics and everything, and that version of John Cena, the heel John Cena. So like
There were even some heelish times when he was the babyface.
yes, because of how he could work the crowd on the mic. Austin's turn. The problem is that Austin's turn. Okay, Cena's always been viewed as the company man.
Right.
Even Cena's heel turn, he's acting like a company man, just a heel. Austin was anti-establishment and anti-company, or his character was. So it didn't make character sense for him to go all of a sudden be the company guy.
Plus, it contradicted his the thing that he came up with years ago. DTA, don't trust anybody.
Yes, and there's no way the thing to have him side with McMahon made no sense.
Mm-mm.
It just it made no sense whatsoever. Like it just like you took the biggest rivalry and the two people that hated each other the most. I mean, obviously in wrestling terms, and to just do this, it just didn't work. Again, I think that's why this. I saw somebody that I really respect on YouTube say that they didn't think the Cena heel turn was working, and I went, I think you're insane. I think
his heel turn's working
No one
beautifully.
expected that to happen.
Well, no,
It's working beautifully.
Even if you expect it to happen, even if you saw the breadcrumbs, I think what they've done with it has been brilliant. And I also think the fact that Cody has been able to go toe to toe with him on the mic has made it even better. And again, the character, he's still the company man.
Right. But the reason why I say no one expected that to happen, Flash, is because who would have, of all people, turning heel John Cena? I mean, he's the type of person that you would say hi, that would sign a little kid's autograph. He's the type of person that you would want you want to hug your baby or kiss your baby. Cena, he looked at as the corporate, clean cut type of guy, and for him to turn heel in the fashion in which he did, that was intensifying, and especially how the way he beat up Cody, and the way how he looked in his face. If we had the picture of Cena's face and how he looked straight in the face with Rock,
Yeah, I still like his face. Legit looked demonic.
it was.
It was crazy. I was just like, wow, like you literally look demonic, and like bravo to him for the acting chops. But I mean, I didn't see it coming. You look back at the breadcrumbs and you're like, there it is. But
yeah, and even with the breadcrumbs, they only gave you like two breadcrumbs.
I
The
know.
promo he cut after the Royal Rumble, and then the Elimination Chamber where he took advantage of Seth Rollins stomping CM Punk. Those are the only two they gave you.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah, you're right. You're exactly right.
And even still, it's like even with just those two, you still wouldn't have been fully convinced because I kind of completely understand you're gonna do what you want, you got to do what you got to do to get to WrestleMania. But then when the moment happened and that light switch flipped, and it's almost like and the face just like changed in an instant. It was like,
So I got a
yeah.
question. Yeah. So I got a question though.
hmm
Do you have him retire a heel, or do you have the redemption story?
I have the. Oh no, I have the redemption story. I have the redemption story. I don't keep this thing. I don't keep it going the entire
You
time.
have to go with the redemption story
And I
because
think he
people
loses.
want to
Yeah,
remember people for their glory
yeah,
days.
Then
yeah. You gotta.
I think he loses.
What you do?
Then I think
I
he
think
loses.
what you. Yeah, what you. I think what you do. You ride this out, but then you have opponents kind of pluck away at them and pluck away at it, and like because we had talked about it. I think like you pluck away at it, like I think ultimate and you can even do like rewind. I mean, you're gonna have to do some rewind matches in this. You're gonna have to do them. So the John Cena AJ Styles match. You got to do it. I've said you can only do John Cena CM Punk at Money in the Bank. It only makes sense. It's full circle. They got to go Money in the Bank. Just the rewind the like you do go the rewind. You got to have it's got to be the opponents like that. They have to pluck away and kind of like peel the heel off him. And then like I think we had talked about because you had said I remember you had talked about the dream match that's potentially there that can be done during this run is John Cena Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's the dream matchup we could possibly get if Austin wants to do it. Stone Cold Steve Austin could just be that final tip of the iceberg
You know what I was thinking?
that pulls Cena all the way back.
You know,
I
I was
still think
thinking.
The Rock is going to be his last. I still think The Rock is going to be his last match to complete the redemption story. But that's just my opinion. Go ahead, PSP.
Remember how Austin and Cena met back on Christmas back in Iraq?
Yeah, the
Remember
tribute to
how
the
the way
truth.
and remember how Cena gave him the "You Can't See Me" signature and Austin stunning him? You might see that in the WrestleMania.
Yeah. I'm torn. I saw a discussion about whether you have Cena retire heel or have a redemption story. If there's a redemption story planned, I think he loses next Sunday. I don't think he wins. I think his him winning the 17th title should be as a babyface. If there's a redemption story, if they have that booked into this story, then I think it should be as a babyface. Because if he wins on Sunday, then you're not gonna have anybody take the title off him until he retires, unless it's no, I don't, I don't think. Who would you have him take the title off? Who would you have him like unless the thing is where I don't know. Because the only thing I can think of is that if Cena's last match is at it's the Royal Rumble, right? No.
Well, he would. Well, no, New Year's Eve is his retirement date.
So whatever pay-per-view is in December.
I don't know if they have. I don't know if they have one in December. It might just be a Raw.
I don't know, but I do. But here's the thing: it's like unless his last match is The Rock, and he drops the title to The Rock, and then you have Rock Cody or Rock Roman at WrestleMania next year.
Possible. Possible.
That's my thing. Is at some point we have to get Rock Roman or Rock Cody.
I think WrestleMania. I still personally think WrestleMania 42 is Rock Roman. They got to end that once for all. They got to. They got to. I mean, I know they haven't really touched the bloodline stuff too much as of late, but ultimately they got to do that because they still got to do that.
I actually kind of think that the way that we all thought it was going to go, it didn't go that way, and now it's kind of petered out. Because if you would have said to me 8 months ago that Solo taking over the bloodline, but The Rock was behind the strings, pulling the strings, like that's kind of what we all expected. It didn't happen, and now like the bloodline thing is like, like Reigns doesn't even wear the Ulafala out to the ring anymore.
Well, I mean that's true, but here's the thing though. Every time we say that, they find a way to bring us back in. So I'm not writing that off yet.
I just think like Cody Rock is where they're angling currently.
Yeah, I can see it.
Again, that could change. It just seemed odd after last year's WrestleMania on the next Raw. They didn't set up Rock and Roman anymore. They deliberately set up Rock and Cody. So I think that's where they're headed to. And the best way to do it is if you have Rock beat Cena, because that's his redemption. Because you typically lose in your last match. So I shouldn't say his redemption, but somehow in some way, like you have Cena win the title, he carries it throughout the year, and then if that's the case, if he does win next Sunday, then he drops it to The Rock, which then leads him and Cody. Like that's how I look. Cody wins Elimination Chamber to go against The Rock. That's my prediction.
I can see it. No, I can see it.
That's how I look at it. I think that's what they're long-term booking towards, personally.
Mm-hmm.
I could see it, but I just think me personally, Cena's going to win at WrestleMania, and I think they're going to really see how far down the rabbit hole they can really go with this.
Yeah. Hey, hell of a job tonight, man. Look, hell of a show, man. Look, thank you, PSP, for joining us, man. Tell the people where to find you at, man.
IG, TikTok, IG Sports PSP, TikTok Sports PSP podcast, YouTube just released the latest video right now. LUKA's return to Dallas. Champ, I send you some clips on IG, so whenever you have the chance, just release it. You know what to do. I will also release a new video out tomorrow regarding Cam Ward, whether if the Tennessee Titans should take him with the number 1 overall pick, as well as Shador Sanders. Should the New Orleans Saints actually take a chance at him with the number 9th overall pick? And Monday, I will release a video of the 100,000 subscribers announcement. So I'm very happy with all of the hard work with the Sports PSP pod and everyone else helping me along the way. As always, man, honor and a pleasure being here.
Catch me on Flash22 on TikTok and Instagram, and then here every Saturday night on the pod. So just happy to be here every Saturday night. One of my favorite things to do.
Salute.
BRS and as for me, BRS Sports is the TikTok handle. Y'all follow it. I got my link tree in the bio. You follow my IG or my Facebook page, my Twitter /X. Hey, this is like one of the highlights of the week for me. Sharing this stage with my brothers in arms, talking sports, having fun, cutting up like we always do on the weekends. It's always in the words of the big homie champ, it's always a privilege, a pleasure, and an honor to share the stage with y'all. And it's like I always say, because there are no truer words than this, because we hit every topic like they need to be hit. But hey, A topic not thought about is a topic not talked about.
And on that note, we are out. Enjoy your night. Do not drink and drive, because you know if you drink and drive, they got somewhere to put you. They will change your address on you, especially if you live down south. On that note, we are out.
Peace.
Holla.